Against Sweden. Hello again, everybody. I'm Vic Rutter. Welcome back to Milwaukee and semifinal action of these World Curling Championships. And our first game beginning in just a matter of moments. Canada, Heather Houston against Germany. But Andrea Schopp, the defending women's world champion, had to get here the hard way. Had to win a tiebreaker. And let's take a look at those scores from late last night as Germany beat France 5-4 and Sweden advanced as well to the semifinal, beating Switzerland 6-5. So Sweden will now play Norway in a semifinal tonight. Oh, boy, this is nervous time for these rinks, and especially, I think, for Heather Houston and Andrea Schopp, because they met last year in the final in Glasgow, and Andrea won it there.
Well, Andrea Schopp is probably as good as there is. I think the difference in this game could be with Diane and Tracy and Lorraine. They've been fantastic, not only here at the World Championships, but also through the Scotch Tournament of Hearts. Those three girls have been unbelievably consistent, and they've done the same thing here this week. So we know Heather Houston struggled a little bit early in the week. Right. If she gets the feel, I really think that they can do it.
And for Andrea Schopp's rink, they lost the round-robin game to Canada. It was an extra end game. The difference in this rink from last year is their front end. It's new.
That's right. Well, it's a different team than she had last year, but you never know. It's a semifinal. It's all new. It's all brand new right now. Anything can happen. But I like their chances. I really do.
And, of course, the difference here now is that there is no second chance. You win and you advance. You lose and you go home. Linda Moore is standing by now with the Canadian third, Lorraine Lay.
Well, Lorraine, you've reached goal number 1, and that was to reach the semifinals today. How is the team feeling?
I think we're feeling pretty good going into the game. We're all quite nervous, as you'd expect, but we're hoping to play a good game, a good solid game, and see how they play.
You do play Germany, and last year you lost to Germany in the finals. Just 2 of the members of the team here this year were on that team. Does that affect how you feel today?
Well, I think it probably doesn't matter who we're playing today, although we know we have to play good against Andrea because she herself makes a lot of shots. And I think if we can come up with a really consistent game and put some pressure on her early, then maybe we can take a lead.
That's a really good point, Lorraine, because your front end statistically has really been at the top of all the teams, and I think that might affect how you play the game. Is that how you're feeling? Maybe go for it early in the end?
I think so, and you're right. Like Diane and Tracy have been playing really well all week, and I think they can give us a little bit of a head start on that front end.
There's a lot of fans here cheering for you and wishing you good luck, and we wish you good luck as well.
Thanks, Linda.
So this Canadian rink battling a bit of the nerves right now as they get ready to face Germany, and I wonder if Pat Ryan, who arrives in about, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, will also have some butterflies.
Well, I think nerves go with this situation, Vic, but you know, Pat's going to have his hands full with Thomas Norgren, but I like what I see in Pat Ryan. You know, he started with Switzerland, and he just mowed down 4 or 5 teams in a row. He looks like the Pat Ryan of old. It'll be interesting to see how Thomas Norgren approaches this game. You cannot let Pat Ryan get away from you. So it'll be interesting to see whether Thomas goes right at him. I think we've got two great games coming up.
You bet. It's a super afternoon of curling here on TSN. Semifinal action from the World Curling Championships, the Mecca in Milwaukee. It is Canada against Germany in women's play. Canada against Sweden on the men's side. And you won't miss a thing right here on TSN.
You're looking sharp. You're looking good. You've come so far. And we know how to make the most of who you are. Where the race is run, you're the champion. Gillette.
The Gillette Atra Plus system with the Lubra-Smooth strip for the best a man can get. Canada's executive class. Convenience, comfortable, almost completely effortless. Some say it's the way business travel was meant to be.
Watching movies on television without TV guide is kind of like fresh popcorn without the butter. TV guide for the full flavor of television.
And now, TV Guide is giving away $5,000 cash, a camcorder, a VCR, and a TV every week. So get your TV Guide hot number this week. A total of $35,000 cash must be given away.
Have you ever tried to watch every game during the Stanley Cup playoffs? Have you missed anything? I'm Jim Van Horn. During the playoffs, we're setting up our control center to bring you all the action from our best-of-7 series, plus the complete picture from every division in the NHL. So when it happens there, you'll see it here. All the action from our best-of-7 series, plus the complete picture from every division in the NHL. See it all in one place. It's the NHL Tonight, the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight on TSN, the Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Mecca in Milwaukee as we're just about set to go with this first semifinal in women's competition, Canada against Germany. The lead for this German rink, Christina Halle. And she'll be throwing lead stones. Canada has won the coin toss. They will have last rock.
Actually, Christina has had a good week. Overall, her statistics have been 72%. Comparing that to Canada, Tracy Kennedy has had 74%. So Christina has had a good week.
Heather Houston, the skip of this Canadian rink, the defending Canadian champions, the lead, Tracy Kennedy in her first stone. And no doubt about it, Lorraine mentioned to you in her interview that she and the entire rink were nervous. But Heather, I think, more so. At least you sensed that.
Well, as a skip, I did sense that, and I think that's natural. I said to Heather, it comes with the territory. You know that the pressure's going to be on you to make those key shots, because this team, Lorraine, Tracy, and Diane, have been setting up very nicely for Heather. They're making some terrific shots, and Heather needs to finish it off. But I think it's good to be a little bit nervous. I think if you're not a little bit nervous, don't have some level of anxiety, you're not really prepared, because this is a big game.
Oh!
And we've seen this all week. The center of the sheet, the 4-foot area, is very keen. They're trying to put up the center guards. That one is sliding and sliding, and look at it, almost slid into the ring.
Normal.
Second stone for Tracy Kennedy here in this first end of the semifinal game, Canada and Germany. This German rink from Garmisch, the defending women's world champions. They beat Heather Houston in last year's final in Glasgow.
And there's a sign of what we've been seeing all week as well. Look at that, a great hit off a center stone, and they get it to roll into the side of the ring. The play will be very open. Both teams will exchange stones as much as they can. Andrea will go after this with the in-turn takeout for Barbara Haller.
This will be the first stone for the German second. Barbara works in Paris. She's in marketing with a German firm based in Paris. Makes the hit and just bites the edge of the 12-foot.
Barbara's percentage for the week was 67% compared to Diane Adams at 68%. Or rather 71%, sorry. She was 68% against Germany, but Diane's had a very consistent week.
Takes the takeout and rolls the shooter across the rings to a fresh part of the ice, top of the 8th.
That's a great shot. She had perfect takeout weight, keeping it up a little bit early in the game. Got the big roll, and now Germany will have to go after this with the outturn.
24-year-old Barbara Haller. Very deliberate in the hack, isn't she?
Yes, she is. She has a good setup. She tends to have a little bit of body drift in her delivery, and we might talk about later, so the rock isn't really coming out straight as a broom. But as I said, she's been fairly consistent.
These two rinks trading takeouts, rolling the shooters to new sections of the ice, and now it's top four biting the button for Diane Adams and her second stone. You can sense the butterflies. All these shots, there's a little bit of nervousness even when they're just on their way.
It's great to get the first end over with. It's hard to come out of the hack with that first rock. Maybe a little easier for the people that have done some sweeping and gotten warmed up. And I always hate that first stone in the first end. But this is great shooting. It's early. They have had a bit of time to practice, but they're still not certain of the ice, and everybody's making good shots.
We talked about the new front end. Certainly nothing new about Monica Wagner. She has been with Andrea Schopp since day one. This rink representing Andrea and Monica in their 5th straight World Championship appearance. The first stone for the German third, Monica Wagner.
She put this out a little bit. It's over at the sides, it does start to move. Her percentage is lower than Lorraine's. For the week, Monica was 61%, whereas Lorraine was 72%. So Lorraine does have an edge at this position as far as the week's play is concerned.
Lorraine Lang and her first stone. But this time she can't hold the shooter and it rolls out of the ring. Twenty-four-year-old Monica Wagner. She studies computer science at the Technical University in Munich. This will be her second stone of this first end.
Monica has a chance here to try and get draw weight early in the game, which is always nice to get a draw shot underway early. And we'll try and get a time on this and see what the ice is running as far as draw weight. Running about 22 seconds, which is what we've seen most of the time this week. About 22 seconds from hog line to where it stops in the rings, which is quite keen, but it will even get keener as the game progresses.
Lorraine Lang and her second stone in this first end.
Down a bit. Okay.
Exchanges stones at the top of the 12.
Last year when Germany played Canada, which was Andrea and Monica for Germany versus this Canadian team, in the round robin, Germany won 8-4, and in the final they won 9-3. But I think this year, with that experience from last year, Canada feels much more confident.
Skip stones now in this first end of the semifinal, Canada and Germany. The first from Andrea Schopp, the defending women's world champion. One Canadian stone in play, that one at the top of the 12. There is a wide corner guard that's covering the edge of the 12-foot, and just barely. Andrea makes the takeout and rolls the shooter out of play. Andrea Schopp, 1985, 86, 87, 88, and now 1989 here in Milwaukee, the German women's champion.
And this week, Andrea played 68%. Heather was a little bit lower. She was around 60% for her play this week. But she's made some very big shots, and of course that's the key, making the right shots.
Wait. What did this time? Well, they're trying 22.5 to the top. 21.5 this thing? Yeah.
Canada winner over Germany in round robin play. This will be the first stone for Heather Houston. The 30-year-old skip of the defending two-time Canadian Women's Championship rink from the Lakehead Ladies Curling Club in Thunder Bay.
I mentioned that one of the German girls, Monica, had a chance for a draw this end. This is also a good chance for Heather to get a bit of feel for the ice. She is moving to this side, so it will be slightly different than the center of the sheet.
There you go, Whitney.
That's great weight.
Slides it into the back of the 12, and I'm sure if she's a little nervous, that might calm them a little bit.
That's a great way to start. She's found draw weight. She's had a chance to make a shot that doesn't have a lot of pressure on it, so it's a good start for Heather.
Oh, nice to see the smile so early as well from Heather Houston and Lorraine Lang. Andrea Schopp is a 23-year-old. This rink curls out of Garmisch, but she studies statistical medicine at the Technical University in Munich. Hopes to get into the pharmaceutical field once her education is complete. Her final stone here in the first end. Inside roll to the edge of the 4.
Now, Heather would like to blank this, but of course she has to be careful. She doesn't know the ice that well yet. It's early in the game, so she has to make sure contact is made first, and then they look for the roll.
Think back through the round robin, the games we've seen. Are these the kind of shots that she had problems with? Pushing them a little bit or pulling them?
Well, actually, she had more trouble with the more delicate shots, the ones that needed maybe hack weight and just tap a rock out, and she was a little bit heavy on them. Her takeouts have been fairly good. She's throwing well, so her sliding delivery is good. It's just been the weight control.
The final stone of this first end, and Canada with last rock looking to blanket. Nose hit, and Heather Houston and Canada will take one here in the first end to grab the 1-0 lead over Germany. So Canada on the board first. Second end action from this women's semifinal from Milwaukee continues in a minute.
This quality moment in sports is brought to you by Ford of Canada. Ford proudly salutes the ultimate in performance and success. Wednesday night in Calgary, Paul Reinhart scores at 2:47 of overtime to give the Vancouver Canucks a 4-3 win over the Calgary Flames. The win gives the Canucks a 1-0 series lead in the Smythe Division semifinals. At Ford, quality is job one.
Picture this, a car that comes with 8.9% financing. A car that comes specially equipped with features that include 5-speed manual, air conditioning, AM/FM cassette, and savings of up to $1,978. Now isn't that a pretty picture? Escort, the best-selling car in the world.
The great masters of darts have long thrilled fans overseas, and now that excitement has swept North America. The best moments are on a new video cassette that's a must for all fans. Winning Darts is a detailed study of the game with international superstar Bob Sneed and host J.J. Jardine. They'll show you the fundamentals, including proper selection of equipment, right up to advanced strategy and tactics, presented in a concise, entertaining format. In addition, this tape is action-packed with great highlights from over the years, including the first perfect game captured on television. Whether you're just starting out or tournament level, Winning Darts will show you the game like you've never seen it before. Order today, only $29.95 plus $3.50 for shipping. Call 1-800-268-1121 and ask for operator 47. Please specify VHS or beta, or send check or money order to iLevel Videos, P.O. Box 7, Fort Credit, Ontario, L5G 4L5. Sorry, no CODs.
Right across the street from the Mecca is the brand new and very beautiful Bradley Center, the home of the Milwaukee Bucks and Milwaukee Admirals. Seats around 18,000 plus, and many people think it will eventually become a home for an NHL franchise as the National Hockey League looks at expansion and certainly does have the city of Milwaukee on their list. As we return to the Mecca and second end action, Canada against Germany. Andrea Schopp now in her ring from Garmisch with last rock after Canada took one in the first end.
Play is very wide open. I think we expect that the first few ends. They're feeling out the ice, feeling out the weight. We've had a few rocks in play. They've all been taken off, and now Canada will try to draw near the center of the sheet as they don't have last rock.
Looks good. Where is it? Where is it? Have a look.
I mentioned draw weight, and the stopwatches are used by Canada. And they're really important. Here early in the game, they've been talking about the weight, and they already know exactly how hard to throw it because of the stopwatches.
Diane Adams puts up the center line guard. The German second is Barbara Haller. And something the Germans do that we haven't seen any of the other rinks do is put a little color marking around their handles to identify the individual stones.
They do pair up the rocks. Every rock is different. It has slightly different bodies or surface on the running part of the rock underneath, and so you have to match them up, and they put them with the colored bands so they know who throws which color.
Barbara Haller made the takeout, spun the shooter over, covering the edge of the 8, but the Canadian stone jammed at the back, and it could be used possibly a little later in the end, just sitting outside the 12-foot at around 5 o'clock. Diane Adams and her second stone here in the second end with Canada leading 1-0 over Germany.
With the corner guard, Heather is looking to defend against that as she doesn't have last rock. You could either take it off and roll towards the center, or she's elected to play up the center guard again. Of course, Germany doesn't like it there. She'll try and hit it and maybe roll to the other side away from the yellow stone and have two corner guards possibly on the sheet.
Barbara Haller's second stone. Nose hit. Now, Heather Houston, what are you going to do?
You guys could have got that there.
She'll go around this guard, and the ice is very keen down the center. The sweepers are telling Lorraine, if you throw about 23 seconds, we can sweep it right into the ring.
And that's the mistake that some of the rinks have been making throughout the week, hasn't it? That they, curlers themselves, the throwers, almost want to make the perfect shot. You do have to let your brushers or your sweepers take some of the responsibility.
And with more brushing, it will curl more as they bring it, and it's slowing down. It will curl around these guards, and that's the way to play these shots.
Here it comes. Can they get it by the guard? Diane Adams, Tracy Kennedy, yes, by. Now how far will it go? Will it bend in behind the guard? Yes. Beautiful shot by Lorraine Lang into the top of the 4 and totally buried.
That's a perfect shot. And the fans love it. It's in front of the tee line. All Germany can do is remove the guard. There's a lot of Canadian fans here today, Vic. Lots of flags in the stands.
Well, the crowds have increased throughout the entire week here at the Mecca. This will be the first stone for the German third, Monika Wagner.
She's playing this quietly, hoping to get some action off the guard and maybe roll something in. This is a good call if she can roll away the shooter. A little bit too much weight and not quite enough angle. She has left the center guard still.
What do you do here? Do you try and come in again, or do you put up another guard and try to protect?
I think Heather will protect. She has the 1 point, and a point here, a steal would be a big one.
You have to be full here. Yeah, 23. Down the line.
Lorraine Lang in her second stone, looking for the guard to protect that Canadian stone sitting at the top of the 4.
This is going to overcurl. I don't know if it's just the path or if it caught something, but it's way over on the other side of the sheet.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay.
Now, they could have played the guard with the same turn as they played to put the rock in the rings, and I'm a little curious as to why Heather would change, because it's hard to keep the rock on that side of center line playing the out turn. The in turn, it crossed the center line and might have been the easier turn. Germany has a big chance here, a hit and a roll behind the guard.
Well, failing to put that guard up leaves the Canadian stone now wide open for the second stone of Monica Wagner.
She got that started a bit. Andrea's calling for the sweepers.
Leave it alone now, she says. And the shooter rolls over to the back of the 12. But there you see that red Canadian stone. Remember we mentioned that earlier? That's the problem now. How can you remove that? You have to get it by without jamming.
Mind you, if she does get an inside roll behind the guard, it doesn't really matter. I think it will go out past the red rock anyways, and an inside roll is what Heather will look for. She'll try and get it to roll towards the center line area.
It wasn't a hair. This is really little.
Heather commenting on that last stone by Lorraine Lang, not sure whether it did catch something, or in fact it may have been just the spot on the ice that moved so much. Germany line 1, back of the 12 at about 4 o'clock. This will be the first stone for the Canadian skip. Heather Houston here in the second end. Canada leading Germany 1-0. There's the inside roll over far enough behind cover. It sits at the back of the 8, but that stone did jam, and it is hanging on, that German stone, right at the back of the 12. Looks like it's biting, certainly not by much. Think so?
I don't think I'm going to comment. Ray maintains that he's the one with the eagle eyes, and it's very close. There's a little bit of a bad break for Canada. It looks like it might be in, and the shooter, the red rock, didn't roll very far, so it's not behind cover. The skip for Germany, Andrea Schopp, can try and get a little bit of a roll behind the guards. She can just get it by that back yellow stone and roll slightly towards center line.
Little less.
She throws quite big weight on her takeouts. She doesn't give herself very much ice.
The defending women's world champion, Andrea Schopp, and her first stone here, second end.
This one's going very straight. Won't get the roll.
A little outside roll, which may be a benefit now to Canada, looking for the inside hit.
Now, the double takeout is here, but the key is to get that roll behind the guard. She might get the double even no matter what she does. As long as she gets a bit of a roll to the inside, the double might be there. But the key is the roll.
That other one's out. Yeah. You gotta watch the down this time. Yeah.
The German stone sitting at the back of the 8-foot at around 4 o'clock, and you heard Heather mention, watch the jam. Doesn't want to jam it onto that Yellow stone just at the edge of the 12. This is the last stone for Canada here in the second. Germany does have the hammer. Got to get it by that Canadian guard just covering the edge of the 4. Got to get it by. No, it'll wreck out in front. And now, depending on that stone at the back, it could be the draw for 3. Hard to say whether that stone just at the back of the 12 is biting. And she gave no indication whether it was or not.
I couldn't tell if Heather was inside, but one thing Heather has to guard against is brooming herself from Andrea, the skip for Germany. Andrea has a bit of a push to her release, and she throws a much straighter stone than Heather, who just kind of lets go of the rock on her release.
So the opportunity presents itself here for Germany, certainly a draw for 2, maybe 3, depending on that stone, and a mistake could leave Canada down by 2.
She's playing the out turn towards the stone that's in the 8-foot.
Final stone, second down.
Well, she's coming in to sweep herself. I don't know if it's light or if she's just wanting to get in there and help.
No problem getting it to the rings. Now, they certainly have 2. The question is 3. They're going to have a look. We'll wait for the indication to see whether it is 2 or 3 before that goes up on the board. Andrea Schopp has, let's see whether it goes on the board. I didn't get an indication.
No, and they kicked it right off.
That's right. It's a 2 on the board for Germany, so that stone just outside didn't count. Germany has the lead 2-1. Andrea Schopp ahead of Heather Houston when we return to the Mecca in Milwaukee in a minute.
This is a research laboratory. It tries and fails to make Castrol motor oil break down. It's the place where Castrol is torture tested to meet the requirements of those who punish motor oil the most. You. The everyday Canadian driver. Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's cars.
They won the big ones, Wimbledon, U.S. Open, Davis Cup, and hundreds of major events all over the globe. If you're a tennis fan, you know Arthur Ashe and Stan Smith as 2 of the greatest champions America has ever produced. And they're here on this outstanding video cassette. Welcome to Tennis Our Way, a program designed to help you play better and have a heck of a lot more fun while you're doing it. In this program, these 2 great players will share all they know about the shots and tactics that have made them winners.
We are going to tell you what we've learned over the years. Some big and little tips for success in tennis. Order today, only $49.95 plus $3.50 for shipping. Call 1-800-268-1121 and ask for operator 40. Please specify VHS or beta, or send check or money order to iLevel Videos, P.O. Box 7, Port Credit, Ontario, L5G 4L5. Sorry, no CODs. Sunday, TSN is some outstanding sports action. We started off as NASCAR's good old boys chase the checkered flag. We're at the Bristol International Raceway for the Budweiser 200. Then stay tuned because the Toronto Blue Jays hit the field in their TSN regular season premiere. The Jays shoot it out with the Rangers live from Texas. This is what it's all about. It's a long road to the Stanley Cup and begins with the first round. Playoff action on the NHL tonight. Sunday on TSN.
Third end of play underway here at the Mecca in Milwaukee. This women's semifinal at the World Curling Championships between Canada and Germany, and the Germans leading 2-1. And Linda, I think Heather Houston may have gotten a break there because that stone at the back was that much out. It could have been 3.
It was very close. And as I mentioned, she's going to have to watch those takeouts. She can't broom herself from the German skip. She throws quite a different stone, and hers curled the whole way.
The German second. This is Barbara Haller.
Canada put up the corner guard, and the Germans would like to roll in. Making the takeout, good shot.
Oh, nice shot. She does. Rolls it into the top of the 12, just off the center line. If you're joining us for the very first time this week, there you see time clocks. They're using time clocks at a World Championship for the very first time. Each rink started with 75 minutes per team, per game. They'll have 30 seconds between ends, 5 minutes of a rest between the 5th and 6th ends. If they do go to an extra end, they'll add 10 minutes. And there are no timeouts, unlike the Skins game played here on TSN in December. And the clocks have really been terrific. I think most of us agree about that. They just really help speed the game along. And no one has really come within danger of using their time, because, of course, if you do run out of time, you immediately stop, and the other team, if they have time remaining, or which they would, they'd throw rocks until they won the game.
It's kept the pace of the game up, but as you said, nobody's come in that close. Actually, one team came within a minute and a half, but I think what's happened is they've adjusted to the clocks being there, and now they know how to pace themselves to use up the time and not to rush themselves during the game.
The rocks under the foil blankets. It's become the norm throughout the week after a very, very slow start, a slushy start to this World Championship last Sunday. Some of the blame being put on the TV lights, some of the blame being put on a lack of compressors. But whatever the reason, they have straightened it out, and the ice has been working tremendously. But still, the curlers are taking no chances, keeping their rocks cool under the reflective foil.
The play is very wide open. I think that often happens. Canada not wanting to go forward until a good situation arises, and Germany feeling fairly comfortable getting their 2 points in that second end, not wanting to take chances at this point of the game.
Monica Wagner,
Inside.
her first stone.
Ja, komm. Okay. Well,
Slips it into the top of the 8. Lorraine Lang and her first stone has this end developing very much like the first end. Both rinks trading shots, moving the stone around to different parts of the house.
shot.
Little inside roll. Technically, these rinks, both of them, very good, aren't they?
They are. There may be a couple of things that Ray and I bring up during the game, but generally they all throw very well. Their release is solid. They keep the weight up during the takeouts, but have the ability to throw those soft shots as well.
Second stone for the German third. Monica Wagner here in the third end. Germany leading 2-1.
Well, you know when somebody's a little inside with this team. Andrea really calling for them to sweep. Monica started a little bit inside.
So the ring's wide open, and Heather Houston calls for the stone out in front. The second shot of Lorraine Lang.
a little surprised if they left it very short, though, because it's awfully late in the end to go after it by putting up corner guards.
Mine's good. Okay. Shot.
A reminder to stay with us right after the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Mita.
A Mita long-distance copier or fax machine can reach out and send a copy to someone in just 15 seconds. Mita, all we make are great copiers.
You say it may be too late to throw up a guard. Why?
Well, what's happening here is, of course, the guard on Canada's third's last stone comes short. Immediately, the German skip is going to go around it. The guard isn't that far over. The German skip can get a rock just in front of the tee line and almost near the forefoot. The pressure then goes on Heather, who's maybe a little nervous and probably wanting to keep the game simple at this point. So I'm just not sure that this is the right move.
All right, the first stone for Andrea Schopp here in the third end of play.
Of course, if Andrea doesn't make it, it's a good opportunity for Canada. She's trying to get it right behind the guard and in front of the tee line.
Boy, it starts to make a big move to the left now. Can they get it by? There it goes. Now the question is, can they get it to the rings in time? I think it'll come up just a little short.
Well, that's a missed opportunity. As I was saying, if that was buried, Heather then would have to try and make a very difficult shot. Now she can try and go around both those stones and really put it to Germany. Just talking about the ice, how much ice to take. They'll need a little bit more, perhaps, than Germany took. They have to come around that Yellowstone now. I think she knows that was a missed opportunity.
Depends what happens when it takes the curl, right? Yeah, so 22.5? Yeah.
So the Yellowstone closer to the rings, covering the edge of the forefoot. The Canadian stone just a little farther in front. An opportunity for Canada to bury one here with the first stone of Heather Houston in the third end. Canada trailing 2-1. This women's semifinal at the World Curling Championships, the Mecca in Milwaukee.
Now, this would be a great confidence builder for Heather. If she could get this in here, good chance for two, and it would probably make her feel very good. Oh, well, look at it swing once it hits the hog line.
Can they get it by? That's the question. Can they get it by? Just a little wick. It straightens out. It straightened out just a touch and slips into the back of the four. It just grabbed a piece.
Just a touch, but we've seen that. It's so difficult to bury on this ice because it either hangs a little bit or it swings so hard. That one was really close.
But certainly the both stones of Andrea's, her first, and that one of Heather's, both moved the same way. So it seems that the ice is working equally for both skips, for both stones.
Heather was very close on the weight on that shot. They had to sweep it a little bit to try and get it by. That's good for Heather to know or draw weight at this point.
Final stone for Germany here in the third end. Canada does have the hammer.
See what the takeouts do. It really curled with the draw.
It's by. The shooter hold on. It will. It stops at the edge of the 12 and forces Heather Houston to come and get it.
Now, it would be really nice if Canada could get the roll out. It didn't work in the first end. She couldn't get the blank, and Germany came back and had the opportunity for two. I think if they roll out here, Heather will have some good chances in the next end. She'll put up those corner guards and go for the two for Canada.
last rock of this third end. Germany leading Canada 2-1. The opportunity here again for Canada blank. But they have been working this right from her hand. Can they hold it up to get a piece? They do, and some good front-end work by Tracy Kennedy and Diane Adams as Canada blanks this third end of play. And Heather Houston will maintain hammer, Germany leading 2-1. In about 15 minutes from now, the semifinal between Sweden and Canada begins, and Ray is with Pat Ryan.
Dick, anybody who's ever participated in an athletic event of this magnitude can relate to the feelings that are going through Pat and his team at this moment. I don't care whether it's the Stanley Cup, the Grey Cup, or the World Curling Championships. The moments, the athlete dreads the moments of waiting to get started. It's anxiety, it's nervousness, but it all disappears with the throwing of that first stone. Pat, it's been kind of noisy in here all week, and now you're all alone. Maybe just a few thoughts about this game coming up with Thomas Norgren.
Well, it's what we've been working for all week, and I think at the start of the week we really didn't think we were going to, well, I think we still thought we were going to make it, but we knew we had to dig really deep and play well for the last 5 games, which we did, and right now I think we're thankful that we're in the playoff. We don't have the flip, but I think early in the week we would have taken this position gladly. The game is it's important for a couple of reasons. There's one big reason is we know we're playing tomorrow regardless, and the last thing we want to be doing is playing out there to see who's third and who's fourth. It's a totally useless game as far as I'm concerned. So if we've got to go through the motions tomorrow, we might as well be in there for the whole thing. So I just hope that I'm sure we'll play well today, and I just hope that you know, the turnaround or the turnabout will be positive for us.
Well, thanks very much, and we, of course, wish you all the best of luck. You know, Vic, they really got it started with their win against Switzerland, and I sure like what I see. So good luck to all of you. Victor, back to you.
Pat Ryan lost 3 of his first 4. Said he had to win 7 straight. He has won 5 so far. He goes for his 6th straight in about 15 minutes' time. Here at the Mecca in Milwaukee, the World Curling Championships on TSN.
To get great-looking hair, you don't need separate shampoo and conditioner. Get it together. In just one step, get your hair clean, more manageable.
There's one that does the work of 2.
For manageability you can't get from shampoo alone.
Wash and go.
Shampoo plus conditioner in one.
Xerox announces a breakthrough in office technology. Ears to listen with. To listen to your wants, your needs, to understand your business environment before we try to fit our products into it. It's a startling new concept in the world of office technology. It's also a promise. Until our ears have done their job, we'll keep our mouths closed. We answer to you.
Chevrolet Sprint. At this price, you're laughing. Chevrolet, the world's most successful cars.
April on TSN springs into action. Major League Baseball gets into full swing, featuring the Toronto Blue Jays and the Montreal Expos. The road to the Stanley Cup begins with playoff action, and there's thrilling NBA excitement leading to a World Championship. April means NASCAR duels from the world's fastest speedways, golf shots from the toughest fairways, plus the best of the tennis world. And the annual Boston Marathon is set to begin. April, the most exciting spring ever.
Welcome back to fourth end coverage of this women's semifinal at the World Curling Championships. The Mecca in Milwaukee throwing second stones. Canada with the hammer after the blank in end number 3. And this is Diane Adams.
There's been a lot of action this end. Germany put up the center guard, and it just got over the hog line. That gave Canada a chance to try and come around it. They made a good shot that came a little bit deep, maybe just behind the tee line, and Germany made a great shot to tap it back. Since then, we've seen 2 more shots come down. And Germany ended up sitting 2. Now, I'm a little surprised with the shot we just saw. Heather went for the takeout on the back stone. The draws have been coming in there beautifully, and she could have come in around the guard again and tried to sit in front of those stones rather than making the takeout there. This gives Germany now the opportunity because the guard is still there. They're sitting one on the side of the rings. If she can come around this guard to the, well, say top of the 4-foot, pressure's back on Canada.
The German second, Barbara Haller. Weight's good, she says. Leave it alone.
Needs to curl. They're sweeping it for the line.
A little more, and into the top of the 12, fighting the top of the 8. Nice shot by the German second, Barbara Haller.
That's what I was saying. Now the rock is in a position for Germany. Canada's going to have a tough shot. There is a lot of movement. They can tap this back and roll over themselves towards the other side of the ring. But it's not an easy shot for Diane.
Yep. Diane Adams in her second stone.
Your way on the front. Your way. Roll it. Shot.
Hand-Least opens it up and spills the German stone over to the edge of the 12. Ray Turnbull joins us now after being down in the dressing room with Pat Ryan. Boy, you know, we sensed it earlier with the Canadian women, and you can feel the butterflies and the tension in that dressing room as well.
Well, there's no question that they're nervous. I don't care who it is. Under this situation, you're going to be a little nervous. But Pat, you know, you can just feel the confidence. He feels good about himself. They all feel good. As he said in the, in our brief interview, that he's happy to be here after the start they got. But they feel really good. They look good, and I expect them to play well.
Monica Wagner, the German third, first stone, fourth end.
Linda, I just got here in time to watch and just to see those last 2 or 3 shots. Just as I sat down and you were commenting on the fact Heather had the golden opportunity. The 2 rocks were behind the tee line, Dick. And by playing the hit on the back one, even if you make the hit, you allow Andrea Schopp to go around that guard, putting you in a situation to have to play a very difficult shot. And you saw what happened. Andrea made the good shot. Now this whole end is turned around. You have to use the opportunities you get. That was an opportunity. Here's Pat testing the rocks for our viewer. They'll just make sure that one's not slower than the other, and that's how they do it.
Their game begins in about 8 minutes with Thomas Norgren of Sweden.
Linda, those are things that you can't run away and hide in curling. When you have to take a chance like that, she got the long guard and she had to go around it. Forget about hitting the backstone. Use the backstones.
Lorraine Lang. Oh, my.
Well, I think Ray and I are in complete agreement. As I said, the ice was swinging so beautifully. No matter who got around that guard, they were in the best position. With the rocks behind the tee line, as a matter of fact, just in the back 12-foot, Canada did have a good chance. Now look what they're facing. There are 3 German stones in the rings. The German skip's having trouble deciding where to put this next rock because the rocks are fairly nicely placed. She'll be a little afraid to put up a guard because then Canada will come around the guard. So she's been playing into the rings with this last shot and maybe this one.
The other thing, too, that going back to that situation where she asked Diane Adams to play that little tap back, there is no question that Canada has the better front end. There's no question that Tracy and Diane are better curlers than the German front end. And that's where you'll beat this team. And that's how you beat them, by letting your good players go in behind stones like that.
So you asked them to make the tougher shot.
Well, it was a golden opportunity, and you let her off the hook with it.
They've decided to play a shot where they'll just try and tap up the rock that's in the front of the 8-foot. Maybe even just sit up in front of it. And then Germany will be sitting 4. And 2 of those rocks will be in the front of the rings to their liking.
Enough weight.
not curling for the tap yet. It's got a long way to come.
Monica Wagner, second stone. And right up on top, a little separation, maybe a half a foot.
Well, the double's there if she hits it right on the nose.
You remember the time in the Scott Tournament of Hearts when the other team was sitting, I think it was 4, and it turned out that Heather made a triple. Well, they're going to need something here. It's not a terrible situation with those 2 rocks that are in the back of the 12-foot, but they don't like these 2 rocks at the front of the rings.
Good point, Linda. And this is a textbook situation for our viewers because Heather got herself into this trouble with a call as much as the fact that Diane hit and rolled out. Even if Diane hits and sticks there, Andrea still got that come around to the top of the 4-foot or the face of it.
Ray Lang spills 1, but the shooter rolls out, and Germany continues to lie 3 here in this 4th end. And it's starting to gang up here on Heather Houston. Her saving grace may be the fact that Canada does have the hammer here in this 4th end, trailing 2-1.
That rock turned out to be fairly good, though. They took away the rock that's in the front of the rings, and they shoved one other rock, one other German stone over to the side. Now, if Germany doesn't place this perfectly, Heather will have a shot, either a hit and a roll or draw down to something. It's not easy for Germany to place the next rock in a good position.
But she's going to be lying 4, Linda.
That's pressure. That's pressure for Canada.
Still a smile, though, from Heather Houston as we were playing Skip Stone.
They're going with the out-turn draw towards the edge of the 4-foot.
Good call by Andrea. Andrea's a good one. She's proven over the years that she can shoot with the best of them. You have to beat this team up front.
It's the first stone for the German skip here in the 4th end.
I don't remember seeing Andrea before coming up and sweeping like this. Kind of unusual for the team to see that. It's a good shot.
Perfect spot.
Draws it into the top of the 4-foot. Andrea Schopp, the defending women's world champion.
What do we say about the draw, Vic?
Yeah, you draw for the dough.
Yeah. Hit for show and draw for dough. And it's, you know, I'm sure she's going to play the hit and roll, turn her over in front of the other 2 stones here. I hope she does.
Monica Wagner is on the right, Andrea Schopp on the left.
Well, with that ice, tapping it back, Linda? Or?
I think so.
It's almost a natural for the hit and roll, Linda.
I would play the hit and roll. The thing is also you're leaving the middle open. If you have to with your last one, you could draw.
3.5.
If you don't make this properly, if you don't move theirs, or if you come at an angle to this rock, then Germany could make a really good shot and still have rocks in the 4-foot in front of the tee line. Depending on where this one ends up, this could be a really tough shot for Heather's last one.
No, I know what she's feeling. She maybe like to play a draw. Maybe she hasn't had many draws, but I tell you, she's got to get this in there.
Lorraine Lang joins Tracy Kennedy, Diane Adams. They're going to come up short. Just into the top of the 12.
Well, that's what I was thinking, though, Ray. If it doesn't come down and tap back the rock, if it doesn't set up properly, then Heather's going to have a really tough one, even if she'd rolled out with that takeout. If Andrea had put it back in the same spot or near there, she would have had a nose hit for one, or a tap back for one, or a draw to it or something, but boy, are they in trouble.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, you could play that. You could have played the. You want to get the feel for draw weight. There's no question because it looks like you're going to have to draw with your last one. I guess that was maybe you were thinking, but you had to at least tap it back a little bit. And now they're in a situation where, you know, she really is in trouble. And if Andrea puts this up on just off the center line, out in front, and that means Heather's going to have to go very wide to get to that 4-foot. And I'll tell you.
This is the last stone for Germany here in the fourth. Canada with the hammer trailing 2-1.
She got that out a bit. I don't know if that'll curl up the way she wants. I don't know if it'll make the hog line for that matter.
Boy, it's going to take an awful lot of work by Christina Haller and Barbara Haller. No, she's going to hog it. And a break possibly for Canada here and Heather Houston.
There's no possibly about it. You don't have to use the word possibly there, Vic. That is a break. You put that guard in the right spot, and Heather Houston has to go out there and then there's a draw. And I'll tell you what, no one, and we've seen all week, and the viewers that have been with us all week, Vic, the only spot on the ice is that little bit outside with a little bit of a frost line or pipeline, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes you get out there, the stones don't react the same way. Now, at least, if anything else, Heather can play that, you know, the path that's just inside that line.
And there you count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4 German stones.
No, a bit more.
Heather Houston in her last rock, throwing against 4. Boy, don't make this. And it could be done.
This is Heather's strength, though. We've seen it so many times. This year at the Scott Tournament of Hearts, it happened. She had button weight a lot.
Tracy Kennedy, Diane Adams work the brushes as the crowd starts to come alive here at the Mecca. She wants full 4-foot. She's throwing against 4.
She's got a good shot.
Little bit of a rub. There it straightens out. Now where will it stop? Yes, what a shot by Heather Houston. And the fans from Thunder Bay, Ontario, and Canadian fans are from across the country are happy with that shot. A big 1 on the board for Canada. We're all locked up 2-2, fifth end when we come back to Milwaukee.
Stand by for some great hit music.
Lord have mercy, baby's got her blue jeans on. It's a cheap
Country Stars 2, 62 full-length hits on 3 LPs, 3 cassettes, or 3 8-tracks for only $24.95.
Big city, turn me loose. He stopped loving.
From 40 years of recorded music.
Hello, darling.
The biggest hits by country's biggest stars.
These rose-colored glasses. You're my sweet one, my darling, Julie Blunt.
Blue eyes crying in the rain.
The last cheater's warm. Does my ring hurt your finger? After love in the hot afternoon. Why can't I free your doubtful mind?
Country Stars 2, 62 great hits on 3 LPs, 3 cassettes, or 3 8-tracks, only $24.95.
COD and credit card customers call toll-free 1-800-545-7722. That's 1-800-545-7722. Or rush $24.95 plus $3 shipping and handling to Country Stars, Box 600 TSN, Station R, Toronto, Ontario, M4G4E1. COD and credit card customers call toll-free 1-800-545-7722.
TSN's horse racing sets a terrific pace. See thoroughbred horsepower move out from North America's leading tracks. Harness racing events featuring the nation's top standard breds.
And this fall, when the Breeders' Crown begins, you'll see it all live on TSN. For horse racing coverage that's second to none, enjoy the live running of the Arkansas Derby for 3-year-olds from Oaklawn Park. Saturday, April 22nd, starting at 5 Eastern and only on TSN.
The city of Milwaukee features some absolutely gorgeous architecture. This is their city hall, built in the Flemish Renaissance style in 1895. As we return to the Mecca and fifth end coverage of this women's semifinal between Canada and Germany, all locked up now, 2-2. And what a great draw that was for Heather Houston as she scored her one in the fourth, throwing against 4 German stones. Pat Ryan has put down his brush for the first stone against Sweden, and they have won the coin toss. Sweden has, so Thomas Norgren will have the last rock, and Don McKenzie is throwing first stones right now. We will keep our eye on that game, but we'll return now to the game between Canada and Germany, tied 2-2 as they play the fifth.
Well, Dick, you know, Lynn and I aren't going to harp about that last end, but there's a couple of things I'd like to mention in that end. Number one, that's very uncharacteristic of Andrea Schopp. You know, one of her abilities is to close an end, to go for the throat, and she's had it for a long time. And for her to miss that guard and let Heather Houston off the hook was absolutely a huge break. If you think the Canadians don't feel that now, you're crazy. Secondly, Heather Houston skipped herself into that situation. It wasn't execution, it was skipping. She put herself in that spot by skipping, and it started with Diane Adams' shot. Now, it's a great shot. Heather came up and made a super shot. She got her single point, and that shot alone can turn this whole game around. I'm surprised to see someone with the ability of Andrea Schopp, you know, not jump on the throat right there.
Something that happened earlier in the game, too. Canada tried to put up a guard in that very same spot, Ray, and I'm surprised that maybe Germany didn't play the other turn because she had to go so wide with that out turn. She got into that frosty ice. She could have played the other turn and just crossed center line a bit and put the guard on that side of the sheet and made it really tough for Canada.
And these rinks continue to trade excellent shots. Diane Adams buried one top 4, and then Barbara Haller makes the takeout and rolls to the other side now, sitting in the top of the 4.
Good shot by Barbara, but that's exactly how I would play this German team. I would chase them with my lead in my second and make Barbara, make their other front end, make those kind of shots, because that's where you're stronger. Heather Houston is a tremendous curler. Andrea Schopp is a great curler. Beat them in the front end.
Diane Adams, second stone.
There are the 2 guards in front of the rings, and if one of these teams gets a roll behind those guards, boy, does the advantage shift to them, because those guards are nicely placed, guarding the 4-foot, 8-foot area.
Barbara Haller, the German second, and her second stone here in this fifth end of a 2-2 game, and it has been terrific so far. Great action.
I don't know about you, Lynn, but I'm glad that other end's over.
It might give Heather a big lift, though,
Oh, it
to
will.
have made that last shot.
It will. It's got to. You know, I'm sure, you know, as a skip and having played in all those situations that you've played in, I mean, you know, even the limited amount of skipping I've done the last 10 years, when you make that kind of a shot, it does carry you. You know, it really carries you.
Looking for the big roll. And it just curls up at the end. That's happened almost every time they've played this turn. It goes fairly straight. As a matter of fact, Heather called right off on that takeout. And then at the end, it curled so much that they didn't get the roll quite as far as they wanted.
The German ring from Garmisch with the hammer. Last rock here in the fifth of this 2-2 tie. This is the first stone for the German third. This is Monica Wagner.
I believe Monica was the second last year in this team, was she not, Linda?
She was, that's right. The third, her name was Elma Heggie, and she went and skipped her own team this year. This one has to curl.
Gets the corner, rolls across by the guards, and out the other side.
Did I get a little emotional about that end? Just give me a little cuff there, Victor. If I get a little pumped up like that.
The thing is, too, that if it's that's where we Canadians should know better, shouldn't we? I mean, that's the kind of thing. It's the strategy of the game that you would sense that we or Canadians at this level should know about.
Well, you know, I do think that you know, in analyzing that end after, Heather will see the other side of it, and because she's playing a very good skip. Andrea Schopp knows the game, and she didn't make a mistake in that end, and she pounced on it until that last shot. You know, and in fairness to her, some of those shots outside Linda are difficult, aren't they? When you get out in that cross line, but she just got, and as you say, that was a good point. Maybe the in-turn draw was the better shot there. Guard, inverted guard.
Lorraine Lang puts one in, just biting the top of the 8. Half buried. Monica Wagner.
You think they're crowded around those televisions in Thunder Bay, Dick?
Yeah, I would think so. At the Lakehead Ladies Curling Club, probably the Fort William Curling Club as well. I want to say hello to everybody there.
Don't forget that heart-to-heart coming up in a couple of weeks.
Shooter hang around. Yes, it does. Just on the edge, a little biter at the tee line.
Those nasty little biters.
These shots, though, Heather has played pretty well, has she not? The upweight shot, she's been playing pretty well. She's had a tendency to overthrow on some of the in-between shots, Linda, I think, during the week. She's been throwing the upweight shots pretty well, and she's only at 59. That's why I kind of was worried about the last shot. She's only at 59% when it comes to draws for the whole week. So anytime you're only at 59% for your draws for the week and you sit in the hack and you're looking at 4, I don't know, you know, you got to wonder,
So far this game, she's been narrow on 2 in-turns. This is the out-turn takeout. They actually play more out-turns, this team, and so does the German team there. More towards the out-turn side as well.
I think she feels good inside right now. She loved making that draw. She didn't want to have to do it, but she made it.
Skip stones here in the 5th end and the 1st from Canada's Heather Houston.
Waits normal. Here it comes now.
Whoa.
Good shot. Good sign, Linda. She didn't pump that down there, didn't overthrow it.
It was good weight. She was a little bit wide maybe, but at that place on the ice, you don't want to be narrow because it's the frostier ice and it will start to curl. Now this in-turn draw is interesting too. It does curl, but not until the end as the rock is slowing, and so she needs brushing weight to get it there.
Christina Haller and Barbara Haller. Christina's 21, Barbara's 24, the two sisters, the front end of this. Andrea Schopp rink from Garmisch, getting ready for the delivery of the first stone from their skip, Andrea Schopp.
Back, stand back.
Keep away, she says.
Back.
Keep away.
Yes. Ja.
Now they say jump on it.
Lang genoeg. Nur Länge, nur Länge, nur Länge. Oh. Ganz weg. Jetzt.
And it slips just behind the tee line, back 4. Andrea Schopp buries one here in the 5th with her first stone.
Sit right on top. Yeah, probably. How do you feel? No, because his little goal. You feel better, Brian. I feel better playing the free. You know? I just really do.
That's what Diane Adams mentioned. Just sit right on top of it.
And she says, I feel better, so that's what to play, Heather. Feel better with that shot, play that shot. Don't you agree, Linda?
I do, and I think in this position, she's seen the rocks come down. She knows exactly what the path is. She has her draw weight. She should feel very confident with this spot.
You know, it's easy to say, you know, this is the right shot and this is the wrong shot.
Change your mind?
She sees the corner sticking out.
We gotta show at least a little bit more than half because it'll promise it's supposed to go right away. Board.
So she changed her mind. What's she playing now then?
She's playing hack weight to tap the rock out.
That's a really long guard. I sort of initially thought it would like to play the three. I wasn't see enough of it would play the top. What's this board weight? Okay. It's
Board
a little
weight.
bit more than half.
Well, we don't have to say anything. She's going to play a little bit more than half weight. She's going to play the bump.
Okay, 3.5.
This will be the final stone for Canada here in the fifth. Germany does have last round.
You got to hold it right now, right now. Now they can leave it a bit now.
It's by. Nice shot by Heather Houston, and the confidence seems to have returned, and it may have been because of that last draw in the fourth.
Well, I think Linda and I are certainly, you know, feel the same way about this. You know, when you make a draw like that, and she let that go so free, Linda. You know, she got it out in front, and it just came out of her hand so easy, and that's a terrific sign.
It looked like perfect weight, too. She didn't overthrow it. The sweepers held the line just right.
It's amazing how sometime when you start to struggle, how all that tension builds up inside you. You know, all week long and all winter long. We'll watch Andrea throw this first, of course.
This is the final stone for Germany here in the fifth. Looking to blank in a 2-2 tie.
You know, and when you start to struggle, all the other things kind of, you know, start to break down a little bit. But that was a good sign, in my opinion, anyway. The way she just let that go so freely.
Germany picks up one here in the fifth and lead Canada 3-2 as we take the fifth end break. We want to move over now and pick up action. First end between Sweden and Canada's Pat Ryan out of the Otwell Curling Club in Edmonton. Sweden playing the Red Rocks, Canada the yellow, and Sweden does have the hammer here in this first end.
Well, as I thought, Thomas Norgren in this end went right after Pat Ryan. Pat threw one out in front, and it started, and Thomas went around it, and you could kind of sense that he would do that against Pat. He knew he wanted to chase him early. Now, Pat's got a chance here to get around a center guard to lie two.
This is Pat Ryan's second stone.
Last shot of this end. Top 8 foot, top 12 foot. Anything but too deep. He puts a little pressure on the Swede right in this very first end. Whoa, he says, you don't want it behind the button.
No,
perfect
look at
shot.
It. Dig in and just make the sudden left-hand turn on the center line, and Canada lying two here in the first end. Randy Furby, the Canadian third on the left, Pat Ryan on the right.
If he hits it right on the nose, but it's tight, he could make the double. Has to hit it right on the nose.
Look at that wall of red Swedish stones covering the left-hand side of the rings.
It was a fun end, though, Vic. You know, I watched the end as closely as I could, and it's kind of fun to be trying to watch both games. But Thomas Norgren went right after him with the first stone.
Gee, mid-delivery, he had a word for Nasayen, his man holding the brush. This the final stone for Thomas Norgren, facing a couple of Canadian counters here in the first end.
He hits it on the nose. I think he'll be shot. There's one. And
yes, what a nice shot by Thomas Norgren and this Swedish rink from Östersund. And Sweden picks up one to grab the early lead with the hammer. on Canada. Sweden finished tied for first place with a record of 7-2. Canada at 6-3. More from Milwaukee in a minute.
You give your all to all you do. Don't settle for less from your shampoo. Wash and go First Plus.
To get great-looking hair, you don't need separate shampoo and conditioner. Get it together. In just one step, get your hair clean, more manageable.
There's one that does the work of two.
For manageability you can't get from shampoo alone.
Wash and go.
Shampoo plus conditioner in one.
First Plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Martin.
Like a big pizza pie, that's amore. You're nobody.
Silver Eagle Records presents the newest and most complete collection of Dean Martin's greatest hits.
Remember me.
He's performed with the world's greatest entertainers. His records have sold millions.
Made of this, a little old wine.
Call the number on your screen now and receive absolutely free Dean Martin's favorite songs, including
For the good song. Everybody loves somebody.
the complete Dean Martin treasury. All his greatest hits and his favorite songs free. Over 30 original hits on 3 LPs or 2 cassettes, $19.95. 2 CDs, just $24.95. Write or call now.
Oakland's first round selection, running back, Marcus Allen, USA. Chicago selection, Jim McMahon, quarterback, Brigham Young. Wide receiver, Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley. Lawrence Taylor, linebacker.
Super Bowl champions are made on draft day.
And there it comes.
Live coverage of the 1989 NFL Draft is Sunday, April 23rd, and only on TSA.
We're at the Mecca in Milwaukee for these World Curling Championships, 1989 edition. We're looking very forward to being in Moncton next January to help that city celebrate its 100th anniversary. And part of the celebration is the Moncton Super Spiel. $250,000 in prize money, $64,000 possibly to the winner. Mayor Leopold Beliveau on hand to help make the draw. There you see our own Linda Moore coming up to help make the draw for the seedings. And Linda and her Olympic rink will be part of the 16 teams in competition in Moncton next year. And world champion Eichel Gramsfeld will be there. Top 4 teams from this competition will be there. There you see the Swedish team. Mr. Gordon Craig, the president of the sports network TSN, as we will be broadcasting the semifinal and finals from Moncton. The Moncton Superspiel. Patrick Herleman from Switzerland and his Swiss rink will be there, as all 4 semifinal teams have been invited to participate for $250,000. Sixth end underway, Germany leading Canada 3-2, and Canada now with last block.
I should just mention that when we win our first game in that Bonspiel, we'll play Eichel Ramsfeld. After we win all our games, we'll win $64,000.
Very good.
So
and we all go out for dinner, don't we?
That's right.
I'd like somebody who's confident. Barbara Haller, the German second.
Germany looking to put up his center guards. There was a guard up a minute ago, and Canada peeled it off. One thing I was going to say to you, Ray, when we heard Pat talking, he was mentioning that he wants to win today, that if he has to play for third, which is the bronze medal, it wouldn't mean anything to him. And I felt the same way when I played in the World Championships, but it's something the Europeans don't feel. They really want to go out and win that bronze medal. You just know that the expectations of a Canadian team are very, very high. They want to be in that gold medal game.
One of the things, though, in fairness to the Europeans, as far as the bronze medal is concerned, just to comment on that, Linda, is that it makes a difference in lots of cases. They do get some government funding and some government grants and things of that nature. And how you do in international competition and where you place has a bearing sometimes on those allotments.
Well, I sometimes wish we could feel that way because I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves worrying about that. And I don't see anything wrong with winning a bronze medal or a silver medal. We want to win the gold, but the others are great too.
Well, you know, you've had the opportunity to be a world champion, and I would love to say that I was a world champion. I never was, but to have got to a world championship and just being the runner-up, we came second. And, you know, if you can say that you're the third best in the world at something, I'll tell you what, that's an accomplishment.
The second stone for the German second, Barbara Haller, who makes sure that the hog line umpire can see that her hand was off that rock.
Whoa, whoa.
The ice is very keen. That rock is sliding right into the rings.
Top of the 12-foot for Barbara Haller.
We'll just take a quick look at Barbara's delivery here. She has a good start to it and a pretty good swing, but she has what we call a drift. And I would like to, you know, I forced Barbara to play as many wide shots as I could. And the reason for that is you see this leg come across the body, right there, come across. Now she collapses in the thigh area and then kind of just slides, her leg is sliding across her body a bit. You complicate that with a little pressure on that brush. It's hard to play. You're not bad as long as you're in the center, you know, a foot or two off the center line, but when you get to those wide shots, because of that drift, you have a difficult time hitting the broom. You're throwing from a different angle.
Diane Adams makes the takeout in the top of the 12, and now Canada lying one here in the 6th, and Canada with last rock, trailing 3-2. Monica Wagner.
This end is certainly more wide open than the fourth end when we saw 4 German stones in the rings at one point.
They have a habit of doing this. This is the way it was in end number 1, end number 3, which they blanked, and now again we see this wide open style here in the 6th end. First stone for Lorraine Lang. Left and right, they just exchange stones around that center line across it.
Should Canada go on to win this game, Andrea Schopp will have a lot of nightmares about that guard she threw in that end. Fourth end.
Now the front end all over this stone by Monica Wagner.
Lorraine with the outturn hit. They'd like to roll to the side of the sheet.
Great execution by both rinks here in this 6th end as they exchange stones, top 12, and move it left or right.
Statistician John Allardyce, who is scoring the men's game, and we have joining him Bob Christie, both of EMI, who have done the World Championships in the last 10 years. Bob is doing the ladies' game for us, so we'll keep an eye on the stats as we move through this game. And there's Andrea Schopp's number. Mr. Christie has her at 70%.
The first stone for the German skiff, Andrea Schopp, here in this 6th end of play. We're also keeping our eye on the game between Sweden and Canada, the men's semifinal. Sweden picked up 1 in the first end, leading 1-0. Pat Ryan has hammer.
last comment about the stats, Vic. Of course, both the statisticians are being watched closely by the able-bodied assistant, Kei Sukahara.
Heather Houston will play the rock to the one side of the sheet, again giving her a good chance to play draw weight.
22.5 over there? 23 this way.
You think maybe this is just sort of kind of a flat note end, then you just kind of, you know, you got it going a little bit, you feel pretty good, let's just run through this end. And
you can sort of feel that, can't you? They go through ends where they're really going for it, and then when one team makes a good shot, it seems to open up a little bit again, say, like a kind of game where they just exchange takeouts. Shot, Heather. Whoa, 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 whoa.
T-line weight sits at the edge of the 8.
Now, it's quite important that Germany hits and sticks, because so far we've seen that the teams have had trouble blanking, and that last rock has been quite an advantage. So Andrea would like to hit somewhere, stay in the house, and force Canada to make a good shot.
It's the final stone for Germany and Andrea Schopp here in the 6th. Canada with last rock. On it right away.
She's a very intense young lady, though. When she calls sweeping, you know it needs sweeping.
were you at the Saskatoon Cash Bonskill this year that she was at, Linda, and she lost the final to Marilyn Dart,
Yes,
did she not?
she played very well. We actually qualified through A, didn't meet her, and then lost our first in the cash round, but she had a very good Bonskill. She had a different team. She actually had a front end from another country playing
Norway,
with her.
I think, was it not?
That's right.
Billy Shipper.
I did mention earlier that with this very same team, we saw her in a Bonspiel in Bern, Switzerland that we were in, and Heather Houston's team was in January. They didn't qualify for the playoffs. They didn't have a very good go of it, but they've been playing much better this week.
Final stone of this 6th end.
It'll roll. Will it go far enough?
Lorraine Lang there to make sure it's clean, and out it goes. And so Canada and Heather Houston maintain control of the hammer as we blank this 6th end. Germany still leading 3-2 going to the 7th. Let's update the men's semifinal. Sweden against Canada, second end action. Sweden leading 1-0. This is the final stone for Thomas Norgren.
Well, he gets a hit and rolls over to the edge of the forefoot, and Pat would like to hit this, of course, and roll out to blank the end, maintain control. He gets the hit with no problem. Unfortunately, I think it's going to go into that frost a little bit and just doesn't curl. It's 1 point Canada to tie this game up 1-all.
They're even in the men's game. Canada trails by 1 in the women's. You see, you don't miss a thing right here on TSN.
The challenge is ice hockey. The power is Nintendo. It's as slick as ice, as fast as fury. Throw in your shoulder, dig in your blade, blast it in, or be blown away. Ice hockey from Nintendo. You can play RC Pro-Am and play with power. Pull up to the start. Taste the challenge. It's the power of radio control. If you can't take it, you'll eat dust. Radio-controlled Pro-Am, only from Nintendo. Nintendo sets and games each sold separately. Now you're playing with power.
Learn pool from the best. Never before have these 16 world champion players been gathered at one time to teach you the art of pool. Learn all the shots from the best players in the world. Breaks, banks, defense, positions, angles, even the masse. 16 pool wizards let you in on their brand of magic. World champion, top-ranked players, like #1 in the world, Mike Siegel. Jimmy King James Rempe, Laurie John Jones, Pretty Boy Floyd Mattia, Ava Mattia, and the rest of the best. The most amazing video on pool ever available. You'll learn to shoot like the pros. A once-in-a-lifetime chance to find out what the champs have known for years. Play pool like you've never played before.
To order your video of Learn from the Best, call 1-800-843-5100. That's 1-800-843-5100. Or send $24.95 plus $3 shipping and handling to Learn from the Best. P.O. Box 501, TSN, Unionville, Ontario, L3R5C5. Visa, MasterCard, and American Express accepted. To order now, call 1-800-843-5100.
Monday means excitement on TSN. Toronto ruled the grapefruit circuit, but the regular season is a whole new ball game. Preview the year with Jimmy Williams and the Blue Jays. Then it's time to play ball. Can the hurting Yankees hold off the fired-up Blue Jay squad? Find out when Toronto visits New York in live Blue Jay baseball. With hockey ending and baseball beginning, there's only one way to keep track of all the action. Scores and highlights with the TSN Sports Desk. That's Monday on TSN.
The home of the Brewers, the Milwaukee Brewers, County Stadium, and they'll open it on Monday, the home opener for the Brewers as they play the Detroit Tigers. The first two series for the Brewers are on the road, and for interest to Blue Jays fans, the Brewers will be the first team into the brand new Sky Dome to face the Toronto Blue Jays in early June. Seventh end action of this women's semifinal, Germany leading Canada 3-2. And this is the German second, Barbara Haller.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Germany had a rock at the back of the house, and Heather Houston took a look at it. It was just in the full 12-foot, and she decided to make the hit. They rolled out. An option at this point of the game would have been to draw down to that rock, try to sit in front of it, and maybe force Germany to make a good shot to remove it. But Heather's playing it very wide open in this seventh end.
Yeah. Diane Adams.
And once again, Linda, you know, I feel that your advantage over this team is to beat them with Diane Adams and Tracy Kennedy, and Lorraine Lang will curl, you know, she'll curl steady for you like she has all week.
Oh, look at this.
What a great roll that was.
What a break.
That's a great roll. I mean, that's Diane, just a great roll. And so using those back 12-foot stones, you know, can really work for you. And I think that I would really, I agree with you. I may have drawn to that one and tried to use it a little bit. But when you know you're going to get a roll like this.
That's right. Well, there's a back rock helping them now. Germany either has to try and hit this on a little bit of an angle and try and pick it out, or hit right on top of it so that their stone stays in front of the Canadian stone.
The second shot for Barbara Haller.
Advantage Canada. Okay, guys. You heard them say? You heard them say? You heard them.
I heard them too.
Yeah, I heard them too. That's almost as bad as Thunder Blade.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But I like that. I think that was Diane saying, come on, guys, let's get this one in there. Set up a 2.
And this is her second stone here in this seventh end. Germany leading 3-2.
Anything but long. Short is fine. In the rings is what she wants.
And put a brush to it.
It should slow as it's moving out.
Look at it move.
Oh, that's a good shot by Diane. This is a great front end.
Hangs on to the edge of the 8-foot, Diane Adams.
Andrea just narrows up the ice a little bit, Linda.
Playing the intern hit for Monica.
And the first stone for the German third, Monica Wagner, here in the seventh. And that's what you were pointing out before, is that Heather should not do. Don't watch any kind of ice that Andrea Schopp puts down. Just call the ice for your own ring. Forget what the other people are playing.
Well, Monica has a tendency to start the rock. she'll give it a bit of a roll, whereas Andrea has a bit of a tendency to throw a straighter rock. She has a little bit of a push into the release. So it's hard to follow this team down. You really have to broom off your own players. They don't throw badly, it's just a little bit different.
Lorraine Lang.
Weight's good. T-line. T-line.
Canada hoping to put these rocks just about at the tee line, and if they exchange stones, they can get there too.
This will be the second stone for Monica Wagner.
See if she throws it the same. She just tends to roll it at the end of her release.
Life.
Well, that time she wasn't. She got a little bit full, maybe. Will it come enough?
Just. So Canada line one at the back of the 12-foot, just hanging on at around 5 o'clock, trailing 3-2 in the 7th end of this women's semifinal with Germany. And Lorraine Lang's second stone.
T-line. T-line.
T-line, there's the indication by the girls. Diane and Tracy.
T-line.
The clock from hog line to when it stops.
Here's a look at what the draw weight is. Of course, the higher the time, the keener the ice. The rock just slides and slides on keen ice. And 23.9, almost 24 seconds. That means it's really quite keen. The keenest it's been is about 24.5 seconds this week, and that means you just have to barely let it go.
And then, as we've seen, it can really play some mind games with the curlers because they really don't know what to do. Whether if you up the weight, you're dangerous throwing it through. Then you want to pull back on, pull the string a little bit, and you end up hogging the silly thing. So.
And there's that little ridge. If you move outside the center of the 8-foot, as Andrea did, the end she was trying to play a guard, it is a little bit heavier.
And that's why the number wasn't quite as quick there, because you were going into that frost line. If you move over 2 feet and go towards the center, into the center, and don't get outside that line, you'd find that it would be 23 to 24 to the tee line.
Andrea Schopp, the German skip from Garmisch, and her first stone. Canada with last rock here in the 7th.
She's wide on this.
Threw a little extra weight, too.
I don't know if it's going to hit it.
No, sir, I don't think so.
Corner, no, through.
What a chance for Canada.
All right, what do? Do you put another one in or do you guard something?
No, get it in there. Go ahead, Linda.
Well, put it in for sure. Try to spread them out a bit so that there isn't a double possibility. This is a great chance for Canada after that terrible 4th end. They can come back with a big end here. That's 2 very crucial misses by that German skip. Easy to say from up here, but those are 2 big shots to miss.
Well, the other one was that hog guard in the 4th that allowed Canada to pick up the 1.
Real high.
Now, they've elected to play this near the top of the rings. Another alternative would be to put it right between those 2 red stones that are in the house, which would be right on center line. Try and spread them out and prevent any double possibilities.
Going with the outturn, Linda. Trying to catch it about the 2 o'clock position she indicated.
Have a look.
Have a look.
There, there.
What's 12 foot?
Oh, it's starting to dig in now. Can they get it there? Yes, they will.
Where she called for 2 o'clock.
You know, Lorraine Lang saying, have a look. as brushers, maybe you get too wrapped up in what you're doing. You have to remember to pay a little attention, do you?
Well, the brushers are judging the weight. They know where it was to go, and they're not going to listen. I never listen to anybody. Never. If I decide I don't want to make many mistakes, or I won't be playing with those teams very long. But I mean, they knew where it was. But that's a reaction. I mean, Lindsay would react, and you'll react. Every skip has a flair for the dramatics. They react on everything.
It's not a bad reminder sometimes if teams do look like their heads are down and they're scrubbing away and they're not really watching the line or the weight. It's not a bad reminder, but as you say, Ray, it's the job of the front end to get that rock there. And this is a good shot. Probably Andrea will go for the double, but if she makes a nose hit on the front rock, Canada will be sitting at least one.
On the inside. Outside, where are you standing?
Okay, final stone for Andrea Schopp, and Germany here in the 7th, Canada with last rock trailing 3-2.
Going for the roll on the double.
There's the one that no, it'll jam. And so it'll be the hit for 3 for Canada here in the 7th end.
Yeah, but every single person threw it entirely different. I think that's good because, I didn't get one hit around. Here.
These look easy, but a hit for 3, Heather knows, is a critical shot. A lot of pressure riding on this one.
Leave some skips shaking in their sliders, wouldn't it?
Well, you just have to block out everything but the fact that you're throwing a takeout towards the broom. If you think about the fact that if I get 3, when I make the shot, we'll go ahead 2, then you're bound to do something funny with this rock. Coming now. Looks like a good one.
There it is. 3 for Canada as Heather Houston comes through with the hit and stick. And Canada with 3 here in the 7th now move in front by a pair. And congratulations all around that rink as they now lead it by 2, 5-3 over Germany. Let's update the game now between Sweden and Canada. Earlier action, first stone for Pat Ryan in a 1-1 tie, 3rd end, Sweden with the hammer.
What an unbelievable end this has been. And Randy Ferbey made a great double. Pat's got a chance to get around this to the top of the 4-foot. Sweden is lying 1 at the back of the house. As I suggested in my opening comments, I just knew that Thomas Norgren would go after him in this game, and he certainly has.
And now this is Norgren's first stone just moments ago.
Just to lead up to this, the very first stone of this end came short on the center line, about a foot, but Thomas went right behind it. And now he's throwing for 2 here. He comes up short, so it's a single.
And now we go live to the game between Sweden and Canada. The final 2 stones, Sweden with the hammer of a 1-1 tie, and Pat Ryan settles in for his final shot of the end.
Well, here's what he's looking at, Dick, and that rock at the back of the 4-foot is shot rock. Pat Ryan, his second shot, the rock sitting right at 12 o'clock in the 8-foot.
We can actually raise ours that one.
Yeah.
This is better short than deep.
Yep. Better short than deep. That would be conceding him 1. It'd be very tough for Thomas to get in there to get his second point. But if you come deep, then they can follow you down.
The 1 Swedish stone is hanging on. You may be biting just the back of the button.
Got the good line. Can he get it there?
Crowd coming alive.
Oh, that died. Just died, they say. And you can see Thomas Norgren now. He walk across the ice. That's the only way to get in there is to play in off that stone that sits at the 9 o'clock, half in the 12-foot.
Nej, men vi kan träffa på baksidan. Och då spelar vi bara så att jag det låg inte för oss. Vadå? Vi spelar... Ja, men sen om jag ska råka träffa törn.
Okay, there's no way to get in here to get the second point. So Thomas is talking about coming in off of this stone right here, hit this one here, try and roll the shooter right across and get a second point that way. And that's all he really has, Vic.
Yeah, but the danger might be if he comes too far, could he mess up what he's already got at the back?
Well, it's possible. You could mess it up, but that's the only way to try and get your second point. I mean, that's would be very bad luck if you came right across and killed your own stone. But
the final stone of this third end. 1-1 tie, Sweden, Canada, this Thomas Norgren.
he got this started a little bit. I don't think it's going to curl too much. No chance, no chance, no chance.
He'll hit it on the nose, and he'll pick up his 1 point. Randy Purvey touches the top of the stone. They have a look. Yes, it is. 1 red for Sweden here in the third end, and Sweden takes a 2-1 lead on Canada. We'll have more from Milwaukee in a minute.
Tim Hortons takes a fresh look at donut makers. Theirs and ours. Actually, our donut makers are too busy making donuts to make television commercials. But they send their best. Tim Hortons takes a fresh look at coffee. It's tricky telling the difference between our fresh brewed coffee and theirs just by looking. Of course, that's the real world. This is television.
Some have let life get complicated. Others will never let life get that way. GWG.
The Chevrolet Cavalier is the best-selling car in the country.
Hey, Tom. Morning, Tom. Oh, hi, Dick. Hi. Tom. Hi, I'm Dick.
And from $10,148, it's not hard to see why.
Dick? Dick. Hey, Tom. Dick. Oh, hi, Dick. Hi, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Ask any Tom, Dick, or,
Tom. Yeah, Dick? Where's Harry?
well, you know,
Who's Harry?
Chevrolet, the world's most successful cars.
The NHL season shifts into high gear as top teams battle in home-and-home series on the road to the Stanley Cup. Division rivals settle low scores, often resulting in exciting upsets. TSN follows the NHL playoffs with complete coverage of the New York and Pittsburgh series. One team will hit harder, skate faster, and score more often. It's the NHL tonight on TSN. The Pittsburgh Penguins battle the New York Rangers live from Madison Square Garden Saturday night starting at 8:30 Eastern.
Welcome back to the Mecca in Milwaukee. Vic Rudder along with Linda Moore, Ray Turnbull, semifinal coverage of these World Curling Championships, and the women's semifinal is now in the 8th end. Canada leading 5-3 after that big 3-ender in the 7th.
You can either play the seal. Problem is that's real tight to the boards. We're going to get real fun.
Now you can feel the Canadian team, even from up here. The confidence is growing. This would be a great win for them going into the final if they can hang in there. But I like what Germany's doing. The Canadian team put a rock in the front of the 8-foot near center line. Germany has ignored it. They're putting up the corner guards and trying to get a 2 built up.
It's a good call by Andrea. She knows that you're playing the 8th end. She's down 2.
Yeah,
Against a good team, she's got to get something going, and you get it going with front rocks. Now, Heather thought about peeling that, Linda.
She's going for it. She's putting up a rock in front of the one that's in the house.
Yeah.
This will be the first stone for the Canadian third, Lorraine Lang, here in this 8th end.
Hey.
They want it tight to the rings, in front of the rock that's in the front of the 8-foot.
Got to come across here. Well.
Now, if this isn't perfectly placed, Germany has a chance for a hit and a roll. But look at it come up at the end.
And you're right, they do. They just die, and they move at the end, and then what is it about the brushing that helps them move a little bit more?
Well, you have to wait for the rock to slow to get that movement, and so you have to wait on it with the brushes until the last few feet, and then brush it very hard, and it will catch that nice movement. And all Germany has is to take off this center guard.
The German third. This is Monika Wagner and her first stone. Drives it back. Will she catch a corner? No. Drives it through.
She said sorry. She was trying to get the double off the front rock and just misswept it. It needed more brushing to catch that back rock.
Okay, still be slow because one of these times you're going to go right over.
Lorraine Lang. Her second stone. Have a couple of hellos to pass along from Ed and Carol Brunton and Lennon Shirley Carroll from Sioux Lookout, Ontario. I want to say hello to Doug Poirier, who is celebrating his 50th birthday.
Great number.
You betcha.
Too much. Whoa.
So, and they said here, the added note is, well, now, Doug, you can go and play seniors.
Oh, you find that funny or something?
Happy birthday, Doug, in Sioux Lookout, Ontario.
That is a great, great part of the world. It is so beautiful. I have a summer home in Sioux Narrows, not very far away.
The Canadian guard actually over-curled. Now it's going to be tight for Germany to get a hit in a roll, but they can certainly get at the shot rock.
Second stone for Monika Wagner. Listen to her, listen to her. Andrea Schopp, oh yes, and all the yelling and the great front end work by the Holler sisters, Barbara and Christina. And I guess that's what Andrea was doing, a little bit of hollering at her front end.
Playing the intern hit and scrubbing away are those Holler sisters, and look at just by the guard. And they couldn't get the inside roll, but it's still a tough shot for Canada.
In the foreground, Barbara, and in the background, Christina Holler.
It just curls by the guard, so it's a corner covered perhaps.
Skip stones now in this eighth end with Canada leading by 2, 5-3 over Germany. And the first by Heather Houston. Got a bye? Yes. Oh, nice shot in the outside roll, top 12 foot.
You can hear those front ends working.
Now, Linda Moore, tell me, did you think that was by?
Actually, I did, Ray.
Oh, I knew you'd say that.
But I thought if the first stone took that pass and they scrubbed it, the second one might take the same path.
It was so close.
Good thing we got on everywhere. Yeah, roll right out of my hand.
Rolled it right out of my hand, she said. .68% isn't a big number for Andrea, but more importantly, it was the one big shot that she missed.
She missed that guard, and then in the seventh end, she had that open hit. Overthrew it a bit and got a little bit wide. She needs this one to give her a lift, just as Heather got a lift from her good draw in the fourth.
She needs the hit and roll here, and if she gets it, she can set up her deuce. She's close.
There it is, the roll over, and it is covered. Andrea Schopp comes back with a big shot here in the eighth.
The key to this shot is the sweeping. They waited on it and then really scrubbed it hard And Monica was right there to make sure it was behind the guards with the roll. Andrea's hoping that she'll have a chance for two. Heather has an in-turn draw.
What, sorry, we're going to start 23 and a half for those guards?
Yes.
So I start 23?
Yeah. There's the guards. Heather will try and come around that front red stone. She really should stay in front of the tee line and not allow Germany a chance to tap her stone out. If it completely buries it, it's of course a great shot.
The final stone for Canada, and Heather Houston here in the 8th, Germany with the hammer.
The key is to get it buried and shot rock.
Weight's good.
Force Andrea to play, because she made a great roll, hit and roll.
Weight's good.
Got to get it buried.
Oh, lots of weight.
Here it comes. If it's by, it's a great shot.
Got it by again. Oh, they do. Now where will it stop? Will it stop in time to be shot rock? No, it'll slide too far, and it'll be the open draw now for two for Germany in a tie game here in the 8th.
Well, it's one of those ones when you feel kind of sorry for the, for the front end in particular, because they had to sweep to get it by the guard, so that, it was a decision you had to make, and it just slid. And that's what you were talking about earlier in the game, how, in that center line area, 4-foot area, once they start to slide, they just keep going.
Even the brushers have trouble because we could hear the brushers saying it has enough weight, but I don't think they even thought it would slide that far. Andrea Schopp, the German skip, not taking any chances with those guards. She's decided to go for her 2 points by playing the out turn. She did play this turn earlier in the game with a draw.
This is a big extra point for Andrea. It's kind of a shot that she'll make 9 out of 10 times. She's got the good stomach for this game. Slippery, slippery ice.
The final stone of this 8th end. Here she comes again. Andrea Schopp out to help her front end. Just needs any piece of the rings for 2 points in a tie game here in this women's semifinal in Milwaukee. And no mistake by the defending women's world champion from Garmisch as she picks up 2 here in the 8th. And we're all tied up. It's Canada 5, Germany 5 as we go to the 9th end. Let's update the game between Sweden and Canada as they play the 4th. Final stone, Pat Ryan.
Well, this is one of those flattened out ends, Vic. They just played it up and down the ice, and Pat gets a chance to blank it, and we see him throw it through. So it's Sweden 2, Canada 1.
We'll have more as the semifinals continue from the Mecca in Milwaukee and the 1989 World Curling Championships.
Play Walt Disney World Baseball Magic at all A&P Dominion stores. This year, 3 ways to win. Win up to $10,000 instantly. Win trips for 2 to Orlando, Florida, home of Walt Disney World. All trips provided by Treasure Tours, a world of vacation. Or collect and win GMC trucks, microwaves and VCRs from Sharp, diamond rings from Sears or sports watches from Citizen. This week's Baseball Magic features Sunlight, quality products since 1888. Pine Sol leads the majors in keeping your home clean, fresh, and shiny.
Trying to tighten that tummy, struggling with ordinary sit-ups? Now, work smarter with the Abdominizer, the intelligent alternative to sit-ups. Look, the Abdominizer targets the proper abdominal muscles, so each and every sit-up is made more effective. Safer, too. You can have a tonier tummy in weeks. Best of all, it's so simple. The unique rocker mechanism lets you rock. Rock. Rock your way to a firmer stomach. Look, ordinary sit-ups can torture your tailbone. It's not worth the pain.
I designed the Abdominizer to produce an automatic pelvic tilt, which better isolates the abdominal muscles and makes exercise safer for your lower back.
The curl works upper abdominals. Raise your knees and tighten lower abdominals, too. The Abdominizer, just $29.95, the intelligent alternative to sit-ups. Get smart. Call toll-free now.
To order, call 1-800-633-3399. Use your credit card to avoid COD charges or send check or money order for $29.95 plus $4 shipping to Abdominizer. P.O. Box 747, Station A, Department T, Downsview.
Hours of training, sacrifice, and discipline will come down to less than an hour.
I'm Combo champ now. I'm in the prime of life.
I should beat this guy. If I don't beat him, then it's all over. Hi, I'm Willie Featherstone. Be with TSN on April 29th when I defend my British Commonwealth title. It'll be a real knockout on TSN.
It's a championship night, April 29th, 9 Eastern on TSN.
The first Wisconsin Tower in downtown Milwaukee, but you don't have to go very far to be in some of the most beautiful neighborhoods you'll want to see. Great combination here of neighborhoods and downtown life in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You know all about those rings, don't you, Linda Moore?
Well, I have a Scott Tournament of Hearts rings. Of course, that's for winning the Scott Tournament of Hearts, the Canadian Ladies Curling Championship. But look at the size of the diamond on that ring that Tracy's wearing. Because Heather Houston's team won twice, 2 years in a row, they had the first diamond removed from the ring and a second diamond put in that is a 3/4 carat diamond.
Very nice.
Ooh. Well, Tracy Kennedy hasn't made many mistakes in this week or the week in Kelowna, but she made a little mistake here. Heather Houston decided to go after Andrea this end. There's a long guard out in front of the rings, which was actually a corner guard, just guarding the edge of the forefoot. And Heather asked Tracy to go around it, and she slipped to the back of the 12, and she hasn't done that many times. She's been sinking a lot of shots.
This is the German second, Barbara Haller.
She got that one started. They're sweeping for line. Now they're bringing it back to tap out the rock because it's not got the weight she called for. Bring it right back on the stone that's in the back of the 12 foot.
It's an okay shot, Linda, but it's not, it's still a great opportunity for Canada. If Diane Adams can sink one behind that corner guard, there we are looking at it right now. Top of the 8 foot, top of the 4 foot behind that guard, and she's in good position to set up the possibility of scoring a deuce.
Diane Adams at her first stone.
But you got to make these, don't you, Linda?
Well, if they don't get there to this end, the fact that Heather has really gone for it, not gone for the blank, will loom large.
Where is it?
Looks like Diane's got a lot of weight as well.
Whoa.
Move the rock 6 feet forward to the top of the 8 foot as shot rock, or the middle of the 8 foot. Now you've got some action going.
This is like the end we saw during the week that was Canada-Scotland on the men's side. There was one at the back, and they kept drawing.
Exactly.
As Vic said, it'll be the last one that throws it in there that gets closest to the button, and we'll get the point if all things stay equal.
And Barbara Haller's got to make this one. Otherwise, Canada will get a chance to go around to the top of the 8 or 12 and cut this end off.
She's got lots of weight, but she was narrow again.
Christina Haller, Monica Wagner working the brushes. Can they get it by the guard? Boy, it moves over. There it is. There you see the time clocks. Canada now with just over 22.5 minutes remaining. The German rink has been playing considerably slower, so they have less time. Ninth end action of a 5-5 tie. Canada-Germany, and Diane Adams in her second stone.
Vic, lots of time left.
It moves over here, Linda, so this is a good opportunity. You can just tap this out and roll over to the other side. You'll be line 2, and Andrea's going to have to then make a decision. Come up with a double. Yeah, I think so. They can take it all away now. I think so.
Punch it out. Well, they move it back and jam it. But Canada line 2.
That's a good shot. That's good execution, Linda.
They played just a tap weight and wanted to angle the Yellowstone. Try to chip it out and roll over. Came up at the end and got a little bit of a roll.
Canada with last rock here in the ninth. Is there a double set up here, though?
There is a possible double. She can hit and roll behind the guard. Of course, she doesn't want to hit it on the wrong side and jam it onto her own stone. These are the kinds of ends that one mistake can cost you.
She started this one a bit, too. I don't think she's got the double here.
No, she just drives it by, and the shooter rolls and will hang on for shot.
There was nobody there.
Where was the brusher on that shot, Linda?
But Lorraine and Heather just forgot about it
The
altogether.
rock was behind the tee line. Don't you have to be in position to brush that stone? Linda, help me here.
Well, you're right, Ray. I don't know what else to say. If somebody had swept that, it at least would have been more in the open and might not have been shot rock.
It may not have been shot rock. Now you sock it around this long guard and you're lying 2 in the 8 foot. Goodness gracious, girls.
Lorraine Lang.
This is how you win and lose games, Vic.
The interesting thing about those yellow stones, though, Ray, is they are open, and if Canada gets a chance and makes a double, they could be sitting a lot. They may not get the chance if everybody keeps drawing around this guard.
Got it by. They lay off now. Will it stop in front of the tee line? Just in behind. Fighting the 4. Now, that yellow stone is open on the other side. Would they not have gone after that side, or this draws the shot to play?
Well, the opportunity, if you're in position to brush that and you can get it, you may not have been able to brush it far enough so that it was, that you were shot rock still. You may not have, but you got to give it a shot. And then if you can if the back rock, red rock, is shot rock, now you go around the guard to the full 8 foot in front of the tee line, and you lie 2.
But I think I wouldn't have played the double at that point, Vic.
No.
I think later in the end I was meaning that if there was an opportunity, there's all these red rocks in the house, something could have happened. But if Germany can sit one right on top of this and stop this tap-back business, they really need one to stop in front of these stones.
Monica Wagner.
She's on the guard.
She is. She'll wreck in front. Shooter spin in. It will. Spins into the top of the 12.
Well, that's a break for Heather Houston. That is a big break, because if they can get that in there, if Monica Wagner can get that in there, she could take this end away from Heather.
She's not pleased, Andrea Schopp.
Makes the come around real tough. Or it's going to be here. That's all right. I want 2 points. I don't really want to worry about anything else, okay? You have to ensure the 2 points. Andrea, you can play this too. The rack is not a good shot, though. She makes the dumb ball. Play this.
Interesting comment. She wants 2 points.
Well, she's looking for the guard. You heard her indicate out in this area here. She could put the rock in this area here. She could put the rock in this area here. She asked for it a little bit further out. Anywhere in that area is fine.
She certainly can't leave that shot open for Germany to come around the guard again. She has to guard against that by putting a rock in front of her shot rock in the 4 foot.
Lorraine Lang and her second stone here in this 9th end of a 5-5 tie.
What you don't want is a long guard here, though, Linda. Otherwise, it allows Germany to slip around it. And the same token, you don't want to be too deep. Top of the 8 foot's a good shot.
Good-looking shot.
It's on tight, guys. Gotta squeeze it on top.
Squeeze it on top, she says. That's a good stone. Nothing wrong with that. It's a dangerous hit for Andrea, because there's a lot of rocks in behind.
Great front-end work by Diane Adams and Tracy Kennedy.
You didn't like the guard, eh?
This is a really tricky shot for both teams. You can see that the reason they're brushing a lot of those is it's curling so hard, they're afraid of racking on that guard.
The draw weight
It
is
just
sort
came a
of-
little too deep, Linda. If it had finished, you know, where we telestrated, you know, the top of the 8-foot or, you know, maybe full 8-foot, it would have been a lot better shot than where it is now. Because Andrea can freeze on the face of it, or even just tap it back slightly, and then it becomes a very difficult shot for Heather Houston to get out of there.
But of course, Germany has to make this one, and they're looking at big trouble.
Back.
Stay away, says Andrea Schopp.
She's not light, let's put it that way.
Here it comes now, though, Linda.
Back.
Too much weight, it's going to chip into the open.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing normal. Oh, okay. I'm going to throw... See, it'll run straight down here with normal. Yeah. Right? I'm just going to throw... We throw bumper. Yeah. We take there for normal. Take there for bumper.
They were talking about the weight to play on this shot. She doesn't want to throw the big weight because it might hang on center line, and there's the danger of driving the German stone onto the other red rocks just to the left of it. So what she's doing is playing a little less weight, still good takeout weight, but a little less than normal.
There's one straight spot there.
It will come off center, and maybe she can get a little bit of a roll towards the other red rocks behind the guard.
23.5.
Yeah, for draw. And if she makes it, this lady knows she's in trouble.
It would be a very big 2 points if Canada can get them here in the ninth end in a 5-5 game with Germany. Heather Houston and her first stone, the Canadian skip from Thunder Bay. Boy, is it ever moved. Look at this.
Well, I don't know if she got it going a bit, but with that quiet weight and that big swing, it just took off.
Oh, I didn't know it was rolling. It's freezing.
And suddenly the frowns turned to a bit of a smile from Monica Wagner, the German third, as they may have gotten a big break here.
But look at the red stones in the rings.
Oh, yeah.
If there isn't a good shot by Andrea here, either a guard or coming right into those rocks, Canada can still get a big end.
But that's a big miss. There's no point to talking around it. I think she seemed to throw it okay. She certainly didn't roll it. It's just that I think she just needed a little bit more ice for that weight, or a touch more weight. You know, I mean, you heard her say to Lorraine, well, I certainly didn't overthrow it. And I think in her mind, she underthrew it. I think she was expecting to throw a little bit more weight on that shot, because it ran exactly the way we knew it would run. And when she let it go, it didn't look like, to me, like she started it.
Ray, what would you do here?
Well, I'd be happy about what just happened, but you're right, Linda. You got to find the shot now.
Because guards on this ice are very difficult to place. We've seen several times this game already. If guards aren't placed properly, the other team can get a good shot. And with the big swing, I don't know about playing the guard.
You are in the ninth end of the game, though. It's maybe one of those situations, you may be correct, where the second shot rock is maybe your best guard, you know. And that's probably what she's talking about. Maybe Victor can give us a hand with the translation if he can hear.
It's double then. Double geht dann nicht.
She's talking about the double. She's trying to avoid any kind of double.
If she freezes on the face of the third shot rock,
Andrea Schopp having a good look. Heather Houston, Lorraine Lang.
Well, everybody knows how big this shot is. If Andrea doesn't make this perfectly, Canada has a chance to put the game away.
Many of the Canadian supporters.
And the Beaver.
Here in Milwaukee.
Mr. Ferguson.
Decision's been made.
Looks like the guard, Linda.
She's taking a little more ice, but we didn't get a call. We don't know how deep she wants us to come.
If she puts the rock in front of this stone, it's going to be very, very difficult for Heather Houston to get that shot rock off the button. That was a big miss.
This is the final stone for Germany and Andrea Schopp here in the 9th. 5-5 tie. Canada does have the hammer.
I'd be up with this. I wouldn't be...
Yeah! Whoa! Long!
She missed a guard in the 4th that cost them a big end. Or a chance to get a big end. She's bringing this right in. It's curling.
Well, it's a chance for Canada to score 2, I think, still.
Yep. Second shot belongs to Canada. It
tough
curled
too,
a little too much.
Coming across the face of this one, you mean? Not necessarily. Not unless if you get bad action off of that one, eh? You gotta hit this one first.
Just needs a corner of the shot rock.
It's going to be tough to squeeze that out, though, don't you think?
With the way it swings, maybe it's not as tough as it might be in another part of the sheet. Not an easy shot,
no.
But certainly has a good chance
you
here.
don't even want to hit this one. Because if it squirts this one, we have to hit them in the middle. What? Yeah.
I think even if she hits in the pocket, she just hits it in the pocket, she's going to get her 2 points.
Same weight? No, I think we're going to have to play something like that. Yeah,
Oh, I agree with
there's
you.
a line here that'll run.
That's what I was saying. As it swings and comes down, she should be able to catch the side of the yellow rock just next to the other yellow stone and sort of jiggle them both and still stay for 2.
What she wants to do is try and hit right in this area, right in that area, right in there. I'll just clear that for you for a moment. Into that area there, and push this stone out that way, and her shooter will sit right there, and she can score her 2 points that way.
Kind of wait. Normal.
Now, she can't afford to move the back stone, her own stone.
Now, the last 2 stones we've seen from Heather Houston and Andrea Schopp have moved an awful lot of over-curled.
That's why she's playing normal takeout weight. She doesn't want to risk having it curl too much.
Well, down normal.
Final
Can't hit
stone.
it on the outside now. It's got to
Through it
come
well.
for her.
I think it's a good one.
Right on it now, trying to hold it up into the pocket. There it goes. Hang around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
2. Indication from Lorraine Lang, and a great shot by Heather Houston as she threw it into the pocket to pick out that German stone, and Canada now with a 2-point lead going to the 10th end. 7-5, Canada leading Germany, 10th end to come. Let's update the game between Sweden and Canada. Pat Ryan playing the 5th against Thomas Norgren. They blanked the 4th, and this is the final stone for Pat Ryan in the 5th.
Well, you ever recognize these kind of shots by Mr. Ryan? Let's take a look at this one here, Vic. This has been another sensational curling game, and we'll be getting it to in a minute. This is his first rock on this end, Vic. and it's into the pocket. There's the double. We've seen those before, haven't we?
And there it goes. They went on to blank the end. They took their fifth end break now in the sixth. It's still 2-1, Thomas Norgren leading. We'll have more from Milwaukee at these World Curling Championships when we return to the Mecca.
You know, when people want to get away and play, they try everything to save some money. Ads in the newspaper, travel agents. But there's a better way. Players Club. If you enjoy Las Vegas, Atlantic City, Reno, Lake Tahoe, the Caribbean, Players Club is made for you. You know, these people know about going first class. So they book you into some of the best casino resorts in the country, in the world. The Riviera, the Flamingo Hilton, Harrah's, right here at Resorts International, Paradise Island in the Bahamas, all top places, fun places. And your membership card? Get you up to 60% off your room in season when other people can't even get the room. And that's every day of the year. 25% off meals and drinks, another 50% off shows and entertainment. You can't get deals like that in a newspaper. You want to know why this card's so special?
Players Club members are good customers, so we take care of them with discounts and privileges the general public can't get.
And I haven't even mentioned airfares. 50 to 70% off with no restrictions. If you have to change your plans, no penalty. Look, I can't give you all the details now, so you call this number for plenty of free information. Read it all, then make up your own mind. New members get 2 free room nights in Las Vegas or Atlantic City when Players Club books your flight. A nice way to say hello, right?
Have you ever tried to watch every game during the Stanley Cup playoffs? Have you missed anything? I'm Jim Van Horn. During the playoffs, we're setting up our control center to bring you all the action from our best-of-7 series, plus the complete picture from every division in the NHL. So when it happens there, you'll see it here. All the action from our best-of-7 series, plus the complete picture from every division in the NHL. See it all in one place. It's the NHL Tonight, the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight on TSN, the Sports Network.
Well, the crowd here at the Mecca, and it has been a good crowd for the semifinals and enjoying every stone of play in both games, the men's and women's. 10th end now of this women's semifinal. Heather Houston said, matter-of-factly, I want my 2 points. That's all I'm thinking about. She missed her first shot. But boy, she got them anyway, and she leads 7-5. And now Germany will have to score 2 to force an extra end, 3 to win it, possibly here in the 10th end of play. This is Barbara Haller, the German second.
You know, Vic, what makes these 2 fantastic games going on here, and an appreciative crowd, and what makes it is ice that curls. Ice where you can get around things. Ice that you can, sure, it's tricky, you know, but you have to learn to read this kind of condition. But it's been terrific ice, lots of movement, quick.
And we've talked about how well Pat Ryan's team has played peeling off guards. Look at this Canadian team. So far, they've peeled perfectly.
Diane Adams. Until now.
How often does that happen? You just say something and bang, you know?
In behind or another guard, right?
She's asked for another corner.
Yeah.
Diane and Tracy have been the best front end here all week by a large margin. And, you know, I'm sure Diane is just sick about having, you know, missed that peel.
Yeah.
And Andrea Schopp, and rightly so, throws up another corner guard.
Barbara Haller with her second stone throws up the corner, covering the edge of the 8. This game a rematch of last year's final in Glasgow, which Andrea Schopp won, beating Heather Houston. The winner here will advance to the Women's Championship against either Sweden or Norway. Lorraine Lang.
Good.
Halfway down the ice, Heather Houston knew it was a good shot by Lorraine Lang.
No, I gave you too much ice, and then you make sure you're out there, and that's all.
You heard Heather say to Diane, I gave you too much ice.
The first stone for the German third, Monika Wagner.
She's curved well. I'm a little surprised with Andrea throwing up the corner guard again with this shot. I might have been tempted to go now with my third first stone in behind, and I know she will with her next one, but it's nothing wrong. It's not a bad call. It's just that I think that I might have gone in behind with this one. Then if they run the front one off, then I would guard it once and then split the rings with my next one. I'll have a chance to try and score my 2 points. But three rocks, 3 German stones to come.
Lorraine Lang and her second stone.
Hit him hard! Hit him hard! Hurry!
Looking for the spill.
Does, and now the shooter rolls over and covers the piece of the 4.
Well, she'll go in behind this. Good crowd here today.
Spilled in nicely throughout the week here at the Mecca in Milwaukee.
Hospitality's been fabulous. The Milwaukee people have just been terrific.
Darf das nicht so eng bist, ja? Ja.
Ray, this is the intern. They've played quite a few times during this game. It gets good movement.
Linda has gone down to ice level for interviews immediately following this game.
Should it end here?
That's right, should it end.
But with a good shot here, they could set up their deuce. I don't think she has the weight, does she, Linda?
It'll just be front ring if it makes it. No, it's short.
It's going to die by a foot, foot and a half.
Well, it's decision time. You can't get them all off, Heather, so maybe you should go in there yourself. But you're 2 up.
Here, guys.
Andrea checking
Let's have
the
a little
board.
discussion. That's right. Let's talk this over.
Yeah, it's really tough on the one that's tight. You guys, like,
We can't taste that because that's splittable. That one.
Yeah, they couldn't hit it.
No, it's like most people pick that.
Yeah, but we can feel it.
That yellow one?
You heard Diane say, you know, that yellow stone in front is splittable. I don't know if it is, especially on this surface. I think it's too far out. I think it's maybe a little too far out. It may be splittable. It would be a tough one. Let's take a look at it maybe from the top, and we'll see where the guard is. There it is. There, it's more than 2 feet from the rings. I don't think it's splittable, but she's going to try and get it out of there. The other option, of course, is to go around those guards yourself to the top of the 8-foot and really close it all off.
What if we hit it just enough to go in?
Yeah, that's the thing. What if they kick it in?
Want to play the come
As you're talking
tough for her to get to.
talking about the come around,
No, she won't come right around. Well, if we play the come
I think it's too far out for the split, so I don't know why they're concerned about that.
What do you feel more comfortable? You feel comfortable with your weight? Come around?
Do you think they're a little worried about coming around it, Ray, because it is tight and there is so much swing?
That's right, and what you wouldn't want to do is touch it into the rings. You're right about that, Linda.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you're down at ice level. It's a long way out from our view, but...
It would be a very tough split. You'd have to have the perfect weight to get the shooter in as well as that rock.
You can definitely punch it in. I don't think... you got to remember now, the shooter's going to hit the front part of that rock.
From here, it's not a bad shot. Like, better short than Hey, this is what looks like to come in right over there. Remember it really went?
She's going to play the come around, Linda. What do you think?
Yeah. Make her go for it. Yeah. And better?
Well, I think it's a good call. Of course, she wants to stay in front of the tee line. She's taken lots of ice. We've seen this spot lots of times during the game, and this looks like enough ice to come around it carefully.
Can you throw 23 and a half or 24?
No, 23 and a half will give you probably 8 foot.
Okay.
This is the first stone of this 10th end for Canada and skip Heather Houston.
Now.
Leading 7-5 over Germany and Andrea Schopp. The Germans do have the hammer.
Hurry! Get room! Get room!
Line's good, says Heather Houston.
Even short's good. You heard them say. Whoa is right. One front of that tee line. Yes, sir.
Oh, what a nice shot. A beauty. A honey of a shot by Heather Houston.
Well, after that one, Germany's going to have a real difficult time getting 2. If she does tap it back at all, her rock may be open and available.
That's right, Linda. It just stopped even a foot shorter. It would have been just fantastic, but it's a great shot. I'm not trying to be critical in any way. It's a fabulous shot. Here's what she's looking at.
That red stone in the top of the 4 is perfectly in line with those 2 center line guards in front, the yellow and the red rock. Andrea Schopp in her first here in the 10th.
This could be the game, Vic, right here.
Needs 2 to tie. Germany trailing by a pair.
Doesn't have a lot of weight.
Heather can play the guard now, and I don't know how she'll get 2. Of course, there's always an angle raise possibility.
Get out to the broom this time.
We're shot.
Diane at the other end says, we're shot.
All right, Tracy, we're shot. A little talking to these girls about not brushing that stone, though.
You gotta try and keep it on this side of the center line here. You try and keep it on this side of the center line. Just over school.
Yeah.
It didn't look like I threw that.
23 and a half.
Yeah.
She's got to make this guard, otherwise Andrea can come down and push her own yellow stone back onto the red. If she moves it far enough, she could score 2. So you want to make this guard, Linda.
It's the final stone for Canada here in the 10th.
Curling watch. Just over. Just over. Whoa. Tip.
Oh.
No tip.
Didn't move too much.
Well, she wanted it on the other side of center line. You heard what she said when she got in the hack. She said, I just want it on the other side of center line, and it did curl too much.
Yes. That's all right, Claire. I need a little bit more. Not much.
Again, Ray, that might have been a time to go with the other turn. I don't know. I'm not trying to second guess, but it's so hard to place the guards on that side of the sheet.
Yeah, you're right, because you have to go out so far, and then all of a sudden you get out there, Linda. We've talked about that all week long. There's a spot out there where it just doesn't come for you. Andrea Schopp ran into that earlier on in this game.
But this is a very tough shot.
Yes.
She has to just get by the guards with the perfect weight to move her own stone back onto the Canadian rock.
But it's there, I think, is it not, Linda?
With the movement in the ice, it is. As we said, because this ice is so great, just about every shot is possible.
Heather Houston has thrown her stones. Leads by 2 at 7-5. Canada ahead of Germany. Canada lying 1. This will be the final stone of this 10th end for Andrea Schopp, the defending women's world champion, has the chance here to score 2 if she can make the Rays takeout.
Back.
Christina Haller, Barbara Haller, the front end, staying with the stone.
She's got the weight. Will it come enough? I don't know with that weight whether it'll come over.
Haven't touched it. They need a corner. They need a corner. No, he's going to throw it through. And Canada will pick up one more here in the 10th and advance to the final of this Women's World Curling Championship with an 8-5 win over Germany. And the Canadian rink of Heather Houston, Lorraine Lang, Diane Adams, and Tracy Kennedy will now go on to meet either Sweden and Norway in Sunday's final here in Milwaukee. Let's update now the game between Sweden and Canada. Men's semifinal. I want to show you the last 4 stones. This is the first one for Thomas Norgren of Sweden.
Well, it's been another great game over here, Vic. You can see Thomas playing a hit. He spills a couple rocks, and Pat decides to come down to this. And you saw Don Walchuk raise his brush, indicating maybe a little too much weight. He's trying to freeze here. He's trying to freeze to the back stones. You can see the 2 stones sitting in the 8-foot. It's a good opportunity. It just goes a little too far. Norgren comes down, just moves it. Watch this now. Right through the hole, he punches it. Pat didn't get it set up properly, and Mr. Ryan, with his last stone, has to draw to the 4-foot. He'll just come down with that quiet weight. You can see Don Walchuk and Don McKenzie watching it closely as it crosses the hog line. Top of the 12-foot, 8-foot, 4-foot. It comes to rest the face of the shot stone, the 8-foot. Single point candidates, 2-2 playing 6. Vic?
2-2 as they go to the 7th end. And now let's join a very happy Heather Houston. Congratulations, Heather, from all of us, and Linda.
Congratulations, Heather. You had us a little worried in that 4th end. What were you thinking when you had to throw that last draw?
Blue. I'd like this one to be in the blue.
But the rest of the game, we thought you played very well, and you seemed to take control after that big lift in the 4th.
Yeah, and the team started to hit a little bit better. The ice changes. The big curl becomes the opposite curl. As soon as that happens, we feel better.
Well, I know you want to take a break, but are you going to watch the game tonight to see who you play tomorrow?
We may watch the first 5. I don't imagine we'll be sitting for that long.
Well, we wish you luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Back to you, Vic.
Congratulations again to the Heather Houston rink from the Lakehead Ladies Curling Club in Thunder Bay. 8-5 winners over Germany now advance to the women's final of these World Curling Championships from the Mecca in Milwaukee.
This quality moment in sports is brought to you by Ford of Canada. Ford proudly salutes the ultimate in performance and success.
Wednesday night in Calgary, Paul Reinhardt scores at 2:47 of overtime to give the Vancouver Canucks a 4-3 win over the Calgary Flames. The win gives the Canucks a 1-0 series lead in the Smythe Division semifinal.
At Ford, quality is job one.
Picture this. A car that comes with 8.9% financing. A car that comes specially equipped with features that include 5-speed manual, air conditioning, AM/FM cassette, and savings of up to $1,978. Now isn't that a pretty picture? Escort, the best-selling car in the world.
Underneath all those delicious pizza toppings lies the secret of McCain Croissant Pizza.
You're going to finish that last piece of crust? If you'll let me have it, I'll double your allowance. How about a new stereo for that last bite of crust? What a guy.
McCain Croissant Pizza, with the crust nobody leaves behind.
Sunday, TSN is some outstanding sports action. We started off as NASCAR's good old boys chased the checkered flag. We're at the Bristol International Raceway for the Budweiser 200. Then stay tuned because the Toronto Blue Jays hit the field in their TSN regular season premiere. The Jays shoot it out with the Rangers live from Texas. This is what it's all about. It's a long road to the Stanley Cup and begins with the first round. Playoff action on the NHL tonight. Sunday on TSN.
Heather Houston, Tracy Kennedy, Diane Adams still celebrating their 8-5 win over Germany in the women's semifinal here in Milwaukee. Now let's get to the game between Sweden and Canada, the men's semifinal. Pat Ryan and his rink from Edmonton against Thomas Norgren from Östersund as we play the seventh end of a 2-2 tie. And this is the first stone for the Swedish third. This is Jan-Olof Nasayen.
Sweden is flying to 1, and Thomas is playing a hit and roll in for 2. And it's going to roll a little too far. His option there, of course, was to come down on the face of his own stone. Now he allows Pat a chance to draw here. It's kind of an interesting call, I thought. Randy Furby. This has been a terrific curling game as well, and the ice conditions here are just so conducive to this quiet come-around game. And the one thing that I was almost sure of, and it turned out to be that way, was that Thomas Norgren, went after Pat right from the very first whistle. In the very first end, there was a rock just about a foot in front of the rings, and he ducked right around it. So we have all kinds of rocks in play. Waits up. This is where it slides. That last call, that hit and roll over in front, was kind of an interesting one by Thomas. And I think you'll find this time he'll come around to the top of the forefoot. Could play the hit and roll. Looking at that, they're kind of discussing. His first indication was to play the come around. Now he's talking about hitting the shot rock.
Okej, spela normal då, Janne. Får inte på något vis driva den där, va? Så vi lirar normal.
Jan-Olof Nasayen is the 31-year-old third.
Right up the Right there.
Still not quite sure. Ice.
He's playing the hit on the yellow stone, on the Canadian stone that sits just at the back of the button. Sweden is line 1. Right on the button.
Second stone for the Swedish third here in the seventh end of a 2-2 tie. Roll it in behind that stone, yes. And who's the second shot?
Oh, dear.
Pat Ryan, Randy Furby, have a look.
Well, let's take a look at this from above. It's hard when you see the red rock and the red circle to tell exactly. Is this one of our betting shots, Vic?
Yeah,
We're going to take
be,
a run at this.
So far, Vic and I aren't doing very well, but I think the red stone looks like it might be second shot. How's that for taking his stab at it?
And I agree with you.
I don't mind having my pocket picked one more time. I'll go with the Yellowstone.
This would be a sweet victory, Linda.
We may never know, depending on how the outcome of the end is.
I mean, it would be a push then.
Yeah, that's right. We'll just carry it over.
A carryover, that's right, a carryover. Pat's drawing around again.
The first stone for Pat Ryan in this 7th end. The winner to go on to face either Norway or Switzerland in the men's final.
Very pivotal end here. Got to get it by the front one. Right off.
Good-looking line.
He's a little heavy. He doesn't want to flip into the open. Just a 2 feet less weight, Linda. I think Sweden's hitting to lie 3 here. And the bad thing about that is it pushed the shot rock over a little bit further in behind the guards.
Han kommer peta in det röda lite bakom, men det är inte hela världen.
Nästan Schopp verkar bra.
Jag får inte slå ett järn där, för då kommer han att gå rakt.
So far in this game, neither team's had the chance for a 2. The critical part of this one is where can he get the shooter to end up?
Schopp är inte så bra heller.
That kind of ice, I think he's playing it pretty quietly. If he ever gets a little flip, playing it very quietly. If he ever comes after, gets by the guard, and he gets a little roll in front of his own. Got it outside a bit.
Well, we're not going to know about the one stone that was questionable, but now it's for sure 2 red stones. Both sides of the 8-foot.
Well, because we both thought that the other one was shot and that we win that bet, so it was 2 against 1. But Sweden's in a good position here to score 3.
And wouldn't that be a big 3 here in the 7th?
Whatever. You see, they're looking at a number of options here. Take a look at from the top. The reason they're looking at the front stone and the back stone, the stones in the 12-foot, is Pat's thinking a little bit about playing his own, but if he doesn't drive it straight back, Sweden could end up lying 3 on it.
Come in again. Huh? Can we have to come in again? Huh?
I think the 2 choices are driving his own straight back and hoping to sit shot rock with a guard in front of it, or hitting and rolling off the other stone. The other red stone, which is on the other side of the 8-foot, it's fully exposed.
Or drawing, coming around again. That's, I think, what he's considering doing. Round the front rock to the 4-foot. Sweden lying 2 here. There just isn't any combinations for him, and then the reason they were looking at those 2 stones in the 12-foot, one at the 8 o'clock position and one up at the 11 o'clock, I'm sorry, at the 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock position, was that they wanted to know who was, who of those 2 stones, who was shot. And had he felt maybe that his back stone was, then he might have considered, or his front stone was, he might have considered playing the run back. But I think he's playing the draw here.
Well, this will be for 3 anyway.
Sweden lying 2. Almost parallel to each other, just behind the tee line in the 8-foot. Final stone for Pat Ryan. Here in this 7th end. Needs to bury this one, or it'll be the open hit for 3.
Here it comes now.
If he can bury it, it will be very difficult to remove.
The 2 Dons, Walchuk, McKenzie.
They're by.
Yes, now how far over will it move? And where will it stop?
All right, Mr. Ryan.
Top of the 4-foot.
Well, that was a great call. The only reason his first one, of course, didn't bury is he was a little bit heavy and rubbed off the other rock. As soon as he got that buried, Sweden can't remove it for 3. They'll have to play a raise or a chip off something else to try and get that rock out of there.
Tell us straight, please. That's a perfect cue. Okay, he's talking about playing the raise back here. He can raise his own back like that, or he could play the Canadian stone back. It's right in behind Thomas. He's backing up a little bit, so he could play this one here as well, trying to drive it straight back and split the stones.
Var med på att den raka kan gå också. Det finns en jävla massa varianter man tuschar röd där.
Well, Pat's back there lining up the fact that if he hits the Yellowstone that's in front of the rings, there's a chance of driving it at the wrong angle and Canada getting 2. So Pat's back there looking at all the possible angles.
I think he's decided to play his own stone back. I think this is the stone right here he's decided to play. We'll know in a second driving it back, and if so, we could maybe score 3.
You've said so many times, Ray, this is a game of pressure and keeping the pressure and throwing it back and forth at each other. And boy, Pat Ryan gave a good example of that right there. He put the pressure right back on Thomas Norgren in his final stone here in the 7th of a 2-2 tie.
He's playing his own back. He's playing the hit for 3. The raised back for 3. Needs the angle. It's going to curl too much, I think. Maybe Vic.
It is. It'll curl too much. Will it squirt in for shot? No, it won't, and it'll be a steal of 1 for Canada here in the 7th after that great draw by Pat Ryan with his final stone. Put the pressure right back on the shoulders of Thomas Norgren, and he couldn't respond. And so Canada, with a steal of 1 here in the 7th, will now lead it 3-2 as we go to the 8th end of this men's semifinal. And this is what they're playing for. The trophies, the symbols of World Curling Championship.
Hey, Eddie, the cars in the 50s, remember?
Yeah, and how we used to dream of owning one.
Yeah, you, the 57 Corvette, huh?
Yeah, and you, the 56 T-Bird. Oh, I miss those cars, Norm.
They're back. The Franklin Mint brings back the cars of the 50s. Classics like the 57 Corvette, 56 Thunderbird, 59 Cadillac Eldorado, 12 imported, authentically detailed die-cast dream machines in the classic 1:43 scale. Remember how you dreamed of owning a Continental Mark II, the Studebaker Starliner, the Buick Skylark?
Norm, this is a dream come true. Tell me, Eddie, tell me.
They're all back. Fantastic recreations of the originals, handcrafted with up to 50 separate components, hoods and doors that open, tail fins, bucket seats, detailed engines, each hand-polished in its original colors. Quality found on custom replicas costing hundreds of dollars and more.
Hey, Norm, how long did you and Susie go steady?
Right up until she sold her T-Bird.
To start your Franklin Mint Cars of the 50s collection, call 1-800-447-7654. Get 1 imported model every other month for an incredibly low $75, payable in 2 monthly payments of only $37.50 each. Order by credit card and save the COD service charge. You'll also receive this handsome custom-designed wall display.
Eddie, remember sitting in the drive-in eating our fries just wishing we owned one of them beauties?
Yeah, and now we can own them all!
Order now and get this fascinating Cars of the 50s binder, including specs of each car and reprints of the original ads at no extra charge. Call 1-800-447-7654 and get the cars you always dreamed of owning.
I love it, Norm. I love it.
Yeah, Canada. Well, they've won the first one. Can they make it 2 into the finals of these World Curling Championships? We know that Heather Houston and her rink will be there. Pat Ryan now trying to get there as well, leading 3-2 as we go to the 8th end of play here at the Mecca in Milwaukee, and that was a big steal of 1 by Ryan after an absolutely brilliant draw with his last stone.
That was just, a terrific shot. They were lying 2 against him, Vic, and he had no alternative but to play the come around. He just got up by the front one, top of the 4-foot. Thomas Norgren really played all he had, and that was to try and run his own stone back, and if he could do so, he could have scored 3, possibly 2. Super shot by Pat Ryan, and a big steal of 1 point.
Sweden now has, of course, the last rock here in the 8th. The Canadian second is Don Walchuk, the 26-year-old stockbroker from Edmonton.
And the peel.
We're going to see this, you think, now?
Yeah, he'll run it to everything now. Especially down to Randy's shot, down to Randy Furby's shot. That stone that sits in the rings, he would have preferred to have that at the top of the fork, but it did slip behind the tee line. So Thomas Norgren will throw up some guards, center, corner, doesn't matter where they are, Linda. Get them out there, hoping to get some action. If that doesn't work, later in this end, he'll freeze to that back one. It's the 8th end. Pat picked up the control point. It's only a single, but it's the control point at in this stage. Been a great week. We've seen some tremendous curling.
Centerline guard thrown up by the Swedish second. And here comes Don Walchuk.
He certainly makes it look easy.
The Swedish second is a 27-year-old, the name of Anders Löf. He's a beer salesman by profession, and I'm sure he must feel like he's in heaven here in Milwaukee. And his second stone. 8th end, 3-2, Canada leading.
Throws with his glove on, which is, of course, an option. Don't see that a lot in the in buildings like this. Most critters will play under some pretty good conditions now, and most players throw with their glove off.
He decided to try and brush this past the Canadian stone to make it a little more difficult. He was drawing down to it, and it just didn't curl enough.
There it is. Good tight glove. You're going to throw it on. With it on, it better be a good tight one. Pat would like to roll away from here, Linda. Get these rocks away from here. He doesn't want to hit it on the nose.
Randy Furby makes the takeout, and the shooter spills.
Another chance for Thomas.
And this lead by Canada now by 1 is the first lead for Pat Ryan throughout the game. Sweden grabbed 1 point in the first with last rock. Canada responded with 1 in the second. Sweden took a 2-1 lead with 1 in the third. They blanked the 4th and 5th ends before Canada tied it with 1 in the 6th. And then the steal of 1 in the 7th by Pat Ryan has given him his first lead of this semifinal against Thomas Norgren.
Viewers in Canada have seen Thomas Norgren before. He's curled in the Uniroyal.
That had something under it. I just want to explain that it caught something. It was curling too much, so they stopped sweeping, and all of a sudden, I guess it's a piece of hair or some other debris, the rock spun on it and ended up sitting on center line.
And covering that Canadian stone at the back of the 4.
These nasty little hairs. You can see it go sideways. The hair is underneath the stone now, and then as it turns, now it turns, watch, it'll turn the other way and come back. Over here, pal.
That's the slalom shot.
And the freeze. Andrew McQuiston was in that Uniroyal as well. As a matter of fact, he went on to win that Uniroyal, beating Mert Thompson from Winnipeg in the final, I believe.
Second stone for the Swedish third, Jan-Olof Nasayen.
Perfekt linje. Kom igen, jag skriker nu. Ni som har han. Perfekt linje.
Very nice shot.
Taps it back and sits shot stone. Back of the 4. No hesitation from Pat Ryan as he puts and asks Randy Furby to put his brush down just beside the Swedish rock in the back of the fourth.
Well, against a normal hitter, that might be difficult to get out, Linda, but against this guy, Ryan, he can spring these like nobody I know.
It's the frustrating part, playing against him and trying to get something going. They can seem to blast anything off the rings.
Be interesting, though, you know, Linda. Big weight on this. He'd like to get everything out of there. That's exactly what's going to happen.
It's called house cleaning, Pat Ryan style.
You know, Vic, no one hits better in this team, and we've said it a million times. I'm sure our viewers are tired of hearing it. But if he should go on to win this game, it was that come-around draw against two that would be a very key shot.
Oh, it was terrific. Thomas Norgren and his first stone here in the 8th.
Now he's taken no ice at all. He's trying to put this on the edge of the 12 foot, but I think it might over-curl that spot.
Oh.
Well, actually, the line was close, but it got caught in the frost.
Just a little short.
It was a good try. He was trying to put it in a new spot.
Thomas Norgren, though, finding out what so many rinks do when they play Pat Ryan and they fall behind. And if you're the rink, such as Norgren and Sweden, trying to come from behind and pick up a tie, boy, it can be frustrating, can't it? And that man knows it. Pat Ryan.
They try and tuck it around here. Force Thomas to take a single, which would give the hammer back to Canada. Really starting to curl. They got the good line. If they can get it there, they're off it. A lot of room is right.
That seemed to straighten up.
Yeah,
Ray.
it just didn't come. That's what we talked about. I talked about that with Pat earlier in the day, just before they were getting dressed, and that 12-foot sometimes is hard to get rocks around in that 12-foot. They start to make a big move, then they stop as they get to the edge of the 8-foot. You suppose he was talking about Kevin Adams there?
I don't know. I think he certainly doesn't want to miss, but he'd like the blank.
Take it away first. Little different spin. Mr. Howard.
The final zone of this 8th end. There's the hit. The shooter go. Long way to go, but it does make it out the back, and blank in this 8th end of play. Sweden and Thomas Norgren maintain control of the hammer. Canada in control on the scoreboard, leading 3-2.
Hi, kids. Elizabeth.
Who wants some Mr. Juicy? But first you'll have to catch me.
Introducing Mr. Juicy Frozen Treats from McCain. Flavored with real McCain fruit.
For Norway in tomorrow's Women's Championship as we go to the 9th end of this men's semifinal. Canada leading Sweden 3-2. Sweden and Thomas Norgren with the hammer.
De spelar bara på utsidan till det så nära ut i sargen. Ska jag lägga en till här då?
This will be the second stone for the Swedish lead. This is Michael Ljungberg.
Corner guard attempt. Going over into the frost a bit. Our viewers can see how it starts to move across a little bit and dig in. Michael doesn't put very much turn on his handle,
Thank you.
which can be a dangerous thing, especially on this kind of ice surface.
Connie Walchuk, no problem. Out in front again, says the Swedish skip, and I suspect the reply from Canada would be much the same. Let's get rid of it.
Kom igen nu, Anders.
You could bet your last dollar on that, Vic.
I think you took my last dollar in the bet we had about stones.
No, I think director Richard Wells took my last dollar in that Papa shot.
Papa shot.
Yeah.
Anders lift.
Try the center this time, Linda. Let's move it around, hope for that nose hit. What Thomas is looking for is one nose hit. Give him a chance to get around something, set up the possibility of scoring two. And that extra point, that extra single point is the control point. Right now, Mr. Ryan has a hold of it.
Whoa, right off.
Don Walchuk makes the peel.
Kom igen Anders, Vick sätter Big Arch nu. Ett bra spel. Missa ändå sista.
And the second stone for the Swedish second.
Det ser lugnt ut, ja. Det är lugnt, Micke.
Anywhere out in front. What the option to this is, Linda, is to go into the rings behind the tee line, hoping that Pat or Randy, whoever's throwing it, will hit stick, and then you could maybe freeze to the face of it. But against a team like Ryan, who can spring rock so easily, you know, I would definitely be playing them out front, hoping for that one nose hit.
Randy Furby. No nose hit here.
Well, I jinxed the Canadian girls by saying they were feeling very well, but this team is incredible at this type of game.
But all you can do, and Thomas is doing it, all you can do is continue to, you know, that pattern. You have to try and move it around, get a rock out in front. You're just looking for one nose hit or one miss so you can get something around it and set up the possibility of scoring the two.
Jan-Olof Nasayen, and he has progressed. He started off throwing them to the left-hand side and worked his way center line, and now is trying the right-hand side. And Pat Ryan has carved a well-worn path out to stones.
Uh-oh.
And it hangs around now, covering the edge of the 12, but just barely.
If that guard had been on the center line and they'd hit it that full, you would have had a corner. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. If it turns out Thomas is going to try and use it, you see him indicating that Short is all right as well, he says.
Second stone for Jan Olof Nasayen, the Swedish third, here in the ninth end. Canada leading 3-2 over Sweden in this men's semifinal at the World Curling Championships in Milwaukee.
He's got great line, Linda. They can just get it by.
Well, he's out in the frostier ice, and I just think he hasn't got the weight.
The crowd here at the Mecca coming alive with "Let's go Canada, let's go." They lead 3-2. Skip stones now, and the first from Pat Ryan.
Draw to the open side for Pat Ryan. Out turn. Wants to be in the rings with this. You don't want to give Thomas a shot at going in behind those two corner guards. The edge of the forefoot is perfect in front of the tee line. Couldn't run down and put in a better spot.
Well, you know, he has this part of the game has improved for him. They had that team.
Did you see Thomas? He indicated the hit in the roll. and had the rock going up backwards.
We can do that on the telestrator, but
That's
it's tough
right.
to throw that one.
Pat Ryan's draw weight has improved so much. It's something that people questioned coming here to Milwaukee, whether he could do it, and he has done it very well, adjusted to the ice.
Well, he made that one critical draw, so certainly he's playing well.
The first indication was to come down and hit this and roll over here in behind the guard, but Thomas said, gee, it'd be better to come and be in front of this rock, which is an impossible shot, of course.
First stone for the Swedish skip.
Keeping it in front of the tee line. Looking for the roll. It's starting to come now.
There's the hit. There's the roll. Now will it roll far enough and hang on? No, it'll spin out. When they had that meeting earlier in the week after they were down, trailing in the standings at 1 and 3, and he said the ice and the game here has got to be my friend. The draw game has got to be my friend, and that was probably a key for them in that little meeting that they had as a team.
It was difficult. The first day the ice was poor, and they were trying to adjust the next day, but as we've said, they really have played well, and they have played that aggressive style of game well. Good, delicate shots.
This is the final stone for Pat Ryan.
Don's talking to him. They're kind of chuckling a little bit. They looked quietly confident in that locker room. They really did. You know, there was a little tension and a little nervousness. They got on just trying to tuck it in there a bit.
He wants to bury it and force the other team to take
a single. That's right.
Boy, he's got his game together, all aspects of it. Pat Ryan.
I think they're a little surprised. They're kind of chuckling. It dug right in for them. I think he thought he overthrew it.
We're talking about that back rock. Randy Furby didn't sweep that red rock that's behind the rings very hard. as it was rolling over and out, thinking that this situation might occur, that the Yellowstone, the Canadian stone, could jam back on that other rock. And then they might steal a point.
That's right, and it's a good point. As long as you get it out of the ring.
That's right. They wanted it just behind.
Remember earlier in the week, Randy kind of misjudged one of those, but that's a good point. This way, if it had stayed a little closer and Thomas trying to remove this, he could have driven it back. Pat would love to force him to take one.
The final stone of this 9-10. First of all, got to get by the guard. They got to buy. Yes, it is. Well, will they shoot it out and spin it out? Nassayen is there. Can he draw it out the back? No. Sweden will take one here. Jan-Olof Nassayen did all he could to try and draw it out the back, but he couldn't. Sweden takes one. It's all tied up 3-3, and Canada will have the hammer in the 10th.
Wow, I feel good. I knew that I would.
There's a whole line of Gillette Foamy to give your special skin more shaving comfort. In an advanced moisturizing formula, sensitive skin formula, and cooling menthol. All to keep your face feeling good. And for you guys with normal skin, the regular Foamy line has an extra rich formula. For a closer, more comfortable shave, it's Gillette Foamy. You'll feel good.
So good.
Want a golf instructional video that really gives you the secret of golf's longest drive? You can now have it with Power Driving, a great new video with Canada's Kelly Murray, the international long drive champion, winner of over 55 titles worldwide. Power Driving gives you all the benefits of Kelly's long drive secrets and easier approaches to the green. Power Driving is guaranteed to add valuable extra yards to your drives. Make this exciting 60-minute VHS or beta video part of your home library.
I'm Kelly Murray. These are my strongest tips, and I know they're going to help your game, too.
Order today. Only $29.95 plus $3.50 for shipping and handling. In Toronto, call 967-1402 or call our toll-free number 1-800-268-1121 and ask for operator 30. Or send check or money order to iLevel Videos, Post Office Box 7, Port Credit, Ontario. Sorry, no CODs. TSN's horse racing sets a terrific pace. See thoroughbred horsepower move out from North America's leading tracks. Harness racing events featuring the nation's top standard breds. And this fall, when the Breeders' Crown begins, you'll see it all live on TSN. For horse racing coverage that's second to none, enjoy the live running of the Arkansas Derby for 3-year-olds from Oaklawn Park. Saturday, April 22nd, starting at 5 Eastern and only on TSN.
You bet. Lots of Canadians on hand here at the Mecca in Milwaukee for these World Curling Championships. And happy so far, Heather Houston has advanced with an 8-5 win over Germany into the women's final, and Canada now in good position to advance as well on the men's side. Pat Ryan in a 3-3 tie with Sweden as they play the 10th, and Pat Ryan has last rock. The Canadian lead is Don McKenzie. And it is very, very familiar. Johnny Walchuk.
Well, I don't know if it matters if you are tied coming home and trying to steal or down one with last rock trying for 2. This Bryan team can get rid of those rocks so easily.
First stone for the Swedish second here in this 10th end.
Well, I got you. Thanks to everybody.
So you'd want to put your money on Pat Ryan with those numbers, 2 and 0.
Hurry! Whoa, come on! Clean. Right up.
So Pat Ryan doesn't make any mistakes in the last 2 years when he's in this situation. He has a perfect record.
Well, this is as we've said so many times. We said it at the Briar. We said it last year at the Briar and the World Championships. Linda, this is the part of the game that they do as well as anybody that I know of. David Smith in Toronto did the same thing, of course, and they're a great hitting team too. But there's not many around that can hit much better than this team.
Anders Löf and his second stone. Ray has now gone ringside.
Micke, det räcker så. Det är helt lugnt. Sitta nu.
But it only takes one nose hit in this game, Linda, as you very well know.
Center line guard thrown up by Anders Löf. Don Walchuk. Sweden puts him up. Canada takes him down.
I remember after the Briar in Saskatoon, Pat Ryan said, I just walked up, put the broom down, and closed my eyes because I knew the team would make the shots. And boy, that's the way it looks right now.
Jan-Olof Nasayer.
This looks like it has a little bit more weight, Linda.
Looks like it'll come right into the rings.
Yeah. They'll try and get it behind the tee line now, but it's going to come in. You know.
And slips to the back of the 4.
Once again, Pat Ryan just wants to hit this and roll the shooter out of play, Vic.
Randy Furby. Wasting no time.
Always. Right on.
Interesting, Thomas Norgren going halfway up the sheet, doing a little bit of house cleaning, puts down the brush, another center line guard.
Well, Sweden's certainly done everything they can possibly do. They, you know, that particular guard did slip into the rings, and you want to keep him in front if you can against Pat, as far as I'm concerned anyway. And
Nu har ni guard. Kan vi inte få en kull över linjen? Nej, aldrig.
It's a good shot.
Just bites the top of the 12.
So the only thing that Pat has to be careful in running this one off, Linda, is you want to drive it back onto the Yellowstone that sits just outside the rings at the 3 o'clock position.
Back it up. All the way. Hooray! Hurry!
They've been perfect.
They were a little worried with that. He might have been a touch inside, but with big weight, they can get those rocks to roll right to the boards.
Once again, they couldn't hit it too thin, and otherwise, you know, there was a small possibility if they hit it very thin of driving it across the sheet onto the stone that's just outside the rings. So, great shot by Randy.
And you can see the time, 5:40 and counting down for Sweden, as time is slowly running out for this rink from Östersund here in the 10th.
Of course, if something would happen, such as Pat Ryan rolling out on his last rock, and an extra end was needed, there would be that extra time. They wouldn't run out.
10 minutes per extra end.
One of the things when I point out here, Vic, is our viewers may think that this has been a very wide open and clean game, and it's been nothing like that at all. The first 5 ends of this game were played with nothing but rocks in play. Thomas Norgren chased Pat Ryan early in the game, and they had some tremendous ends through 1 through 5. But with that 1 point and that steal in 7, giving Pat Ryan the control, he took that 1 point, and he's run it all the way here to the 10th.
You know, the look there on Thomas Norgren's face was, what can I do? I did the best. I can't hide it anywhere. He keeps finding these stones. Pat Ryan. He's the captain of this Ryan Express, and you get a good indication of why. You see these 4 gentlemen throw. There it is now. Thomas Norgren, as he has 1 shot to go, and where do you put it?
Well, Thomas Norgren's going to try and put it into the 12-foot in front of the stone that sits just out of the rings, hoping that in Pat hitting it, when Pat tries to hit it, he may drive it back onto it.
The final stone for Thomas Norgren and Sweden.
That's a great shot. That's all he had. You have to remember that Pat needs to stay in the rings for the 1 point for the win. He can't roll out. And if he hits it on the inside, there is that small danger of jamming it back onto the yellow stone.
He really couldn't put it in a better spot, knowing that Pat is going to play the hit for this, for this win. And there's no, yes, you could, Pat could go down the rings and just draw to the 12-foot to win the game, but he's playing the in-turn hit, the straight turn. If he hits it right on the nose and the shooter stays in the rings, Canada will advance to the final.
The final stone of this 10th end. Pat Ryan has a chance to win it here and advance to the final of these World Curling Championships. There it is, rolls across. Donnie Walchuk says yes. And Canada picks up their 1 point here in the 10th for a 4-3 win over Sweden. And the Ryan Express now moves into the final, where they'll face Norway or Switzerland. 4-3, Canada wins over Sweden. Now it's time for the TSN Turning Point, and it's all brought to you by Mita.
Well, this is back in the ladies' game. Canada playing Germany. Canada facing 4 German stones in the 4th end. Heather has to draw to the 4-foot for the 1. At least cut them down is what she's trying to do, but she makes the shot. A lot of pressure, and that's the turning point.
A cash donation will be made to amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Mita. At Mita, all they make are great copiers and long-distance copiers. So Canada advances to the final of both men's and women's competition here at the World Curling Championships, the Mecca in Milwaukee.
Fantastic. Pat, you know, it's obviously you're excited. We're excited for you moving into the finals, but you know, the 7th end, they talk about Pat Ryan, the hitter, and you are without a doubt one of the best hitters, best hitting teams in the world. But, you know, when it gets right down to it, Pat Ryan can draw, and you showed us that in the 7th end.
Well, that end was working out. At times it looked like it was going to be in our favor, and then when it came down to the last couple of shots, he turned it right around on us. And I wasn't too pleased about the way our rocks were reacting. They just weren't curling in there where theirs were. So, you know, fortunately, my last one went in. My first one didn't. My second one did. Maybe the big shooter's up there looking over us, looking after us too, I think.
But you really sunk that one. I mean, you got it behind, you know, it stayed out for a while and it moved at the end, and you really sunk it. He had nothing but the long raise.
Pretty well. I had nothing else. But you know, at that point, we're 2-all. We don't have the hammer. We had to go for it. We had to leave his rocks in play and hope for some kind of a break. And that was the one break of the game. And you know, it just worked out in our favor. And we're back to the final. We able to maybe avenge our loss last year now.
Well, that would be great. Pat, thanks for joining us, and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, sir.
And Pat, we thank you very much, and congratulations to you from all of us at TSN. We wish you the best of luck in the final.
Thanks, Dick.
Okay, thank you very much. Tremendous game, Ray Turnbull, Linda Moore. It was something very special to watch both men's and women's rinks advance here in Milwaukee.
Well, it was fantastic, and you know, Pat, they felt confident in the dressing room. You know, I thought they looked good, and they showed it on the ice today.
Yeah, it was Heather too. Because she had the early butterflies, didn't she?
Well, she really did, and I think that game will give them a big lift for tomorrow.
All right, so now we have the other semifinal to come tonight, and we'll decide the other finalists. Hope you'll join us. It'll be right after the Stanley Cup playoffs that resume here on TSN. We'll find out who Heather Houston plays. Will it be Sweden or Norway? And who Pat Ryan will play. Will it be Switzerland or the defending men's champion, Eigil Ramsfeld? Wouldn't that be something if those two would hook up again in the final? We'll find out. Join us right after the Stanley Cup playoffs from here in Milwaukee at these 1989 World Curling Championships. On behalf of Linda Moore, Ray Turnbull, and our entire crew, I'm Vic Roeder. Goodbye from the Mecca.